be restored to the city of, will be put out of.
We have it's not Father's Day special. What do you mean?
Oh, I mean, but we didn't get an email blast out, right?
Right. Yeah. Don't even mention that. Just promote it as usual.
Okay. So when do I? Okay. McKay, can you get me that T-shirt, the Free America T-shirt? It's in my office.
All right. Gotta go.
There's over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate. Howie. Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Live to Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood, where protesters are set up outside the East Precinct for the 13th day.
What's your thought on that? The fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely?
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it.
And what is Aleppo? You're kidding? No.
I have not heard anything about that. Any credible source.
Network 90, that appears to be in the New Republic of Capitol Hill. They can handle that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
The East Precinct, it was the flagship of the Seattle Police Department, and it has now been taken away from them.
What role does a police force play in your ideal conception of what a safe public would look like?
That would be like a nirvana, a utopia.
You're robbed on vacation. You have no cash, no credit cards, nothing. What'll you do? What will you do?
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
The Constitution says all men and women are created equal.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know. I'm beginning to get bored by my own talk here.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We're going to be starting our rallies. The first one we believe will be we're just starting to call up, will be in Oklahoma. We're going to be coming into Florida, do a big one in Florida, a big one in Texas. We're going to Arizona. We're going to North Carolina.
We're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show here, broadcasting in the United States of America. We are not in Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. We are in the United States of America. 844-500-4242. We had a lot to get to today, and including more on Berklee College of Music. And it turns out, ironically enough, that those Boston cops who did such a terrible thing, committed an outrage by using the bathroom at the Berklee Performance Center. They were from the sexual assault unit. Those are the people who were assigned there that day to keep order. The sexual assault unit is the small irony here, considering that Berklee has had to fire at least 11 faculty members in the last 15 years for sexually assaulting, sexually harassing, groping, et cetera, female students. And they gave the bum's rush to the sexual assault unit. Fools. Just so obnoxious, throwing the campus cops, the Berklee police force, under the bus. Took them 10 days to write that stupid letter that we tweeted out to you. Anyway, we'll get to all that later on. 844-500-4242. I guess the big story today is still the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, Chaz, in Seattle, and how they've just taken over an entire 6-block area in the city of Seattle, and that you have these armed terrorists in there, and they've by some accounts started extorting money. What a surprise, huh? And a warlord has arisen, a rapper. Another surprise that a rapper would emerge as the warlord, the Cadillo, whatever word you want to use, the strong man of Chaz. And it's just quite appalling. And you know what's even more appalling is this governor, Jay Inslee. You know, he's like all of these blue state governors. He likes to do a coronavirus update on almost a daily basis, so he can, you know, push people around. Taxpayers, law-abiding citizens, he can push them around. But so obviously, the reporters have to ask him. You know, Seattle, the biggest city in the state, 750,000 people. Its center is now been taken over by 1,000 terrorists. Six square blocks, including one of the police precincts. And it's a pretty big story, I would say, when you have an insurrection in an American city. When you have an insurrection in any kind of capital city or the largest city in the state, it's a pretty big story, wouldn't you say? Jay Inslee is playing Mickey the Dunce. Cut 1.
So what's going on in Seattle? There's this thing called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. What's your thought on that? The fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely? I think regarding the garden.
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it. I have not heard anything about that.
Is he kidding?
Credible source. Not that you're not credible. It's just like before I espouse an opinion, I should know of which I speak.
He's amused by a terrorist takeover of 6 square blocks of the biggest city in his state. He thinks it's funny.
So what's going on?
Oh boy. Then you have John Hickenlooper. I don't know if is he still the governor of Colorado, or is he? I know he's running for the Senate against Cory Gardner, but I think he's the governor. He used to be the mayor of Denver. He also owned a craft brewery, I think. But listen to this cut. I mean, now we've moved to Colorado from Washington. Cut 4.
The pandemic created a moment where, when the shooting of George Floyd took place.
Did you catch that? The shooting of George Floyd took place. You know, I say I've been watching less TV. A lot of you say you've been watching less TV. You just can't take it anymore between the virus and the riots. But what has John Hickenlooper been watching on TV? Why does he think that all of the Democrat members of Congress who he hopes to join on the other Capitol Hill in January, what does he think they were kneeling for the other day? Because George Floyd was shot? Lord. Okay, so this is this woman, Kashuma Sawant. We're back in Seattle now. She's a socialist Seattle councilwoman. They've had the city hall locked down where all these riots and looting have been going on. So she has a key because she's a member of the city council. So she opened the door and let all the fruitcakes, all the rioters and the looters and Antifa, etc., into City Hall. Cut 2.
It was only one battleground in a long and hard fight that we have to continue. The East Precinct is not just any precinct. It was the flagship of the Seattle Police Department, and it has now been taken away from them.
And she's happy about that? I mean, what does she want to take over? Does she want the rapper, this guy named Roz? Does she want him as the mayor? Does Councilwoman think that there's going to be a room for her making $100,000 or whatever once you have Chaz spreads across the city. This is from Fox News. Seattle police say they have received reports of armed guards and potential extortion in a self-declared autonomous zone that spans several blocks and includes a now closed precinct. We've heard anecdotally reports of citizens and businesses being asked to pay a fee to operate within this area, said Assistant Chief of Police Deanna Nolette yesterday. This is a crime of extortion. If anyone has been subjected to this, we need them to call 911. Officers retreated from the area after multiple shootings, one of which was sparked after a man rammed his vehicle into a crowd of protesters. Residents who live within the boundaries are now being forced to show ID to prove that you quote unquote belong there, a law enforcement official told Fox News. The irony here, of course, is that in places like Palm Beach, the town that I live in down here, when my father worked in Palm Beach from, into the 60s, he had to carry an ID card from the police department to prove that he quote unquote belonged there, because everybody who worked in Palm Beach had to carry an identification card. And of course, the ACLU said it was classist and racist and et cetera, et cetera. So now the left anarchists have taken over and they're asking for IDs to get into areas. The official told Fox News that some people living in Chaz have been, quote, begging for help because they're not being allowed into their homes without ID. Police have been told by the city fathers or mothers, whatever it is, to stay away from the area unless there's a 911 call for help. The official also added that leaders in the anti-cop zone are starting to extort money from the local businesses within the border for protection. You know what that's beginning? That's like ISIS. Remember that? ISIS was making all their money, all the oil trucks going back and forth between Iraq and Syria, and they were just raking off a certain percentage of the money. That's how ISIS was making their money. They were extorting it.
Tower 90, that appears to be in the New Republic of Capitol Hill. They can handle that.
I assume that was a Seattle cop. I assume he was being a little on the wry side. They can handle that. Yeah, they can handle it all right. Mackenzie Diamond, who lives in the autonomous zone, told a TV station in Seattle the experience has been a bit stressful. It's like checking in with somebody to get into your own home, just making it so people can get into their buildings, keep the zone however they want, and move the fencing so people can go home. No one at these, the assistant police chief said, no one at these checkpoints has the legal authority to demand identification from anyone. We ask if anyone is subjected to these demands to call 911 and report the incident. So what would happen if the real police in Seattle started asking illegal aliens, like, for instance, MS-13 gangbangers, for ID? These people would be up in arms. But now that they're calling the shots, they have no problem with asking people, taxpayers, people who actually work for a living, unlike them, for identification. Within the blockaded areas, occupiers have set up tents, painted murals, and have music playing from speakers throughout the night. Well, how do they get any sleep before they go to their jobs in the morning? Oh, that's right. They don't have any jobs in the morning. One resident in the area told Seattle police there are tents lining my street, barricades littered throughout the intersection by protesters, and civilians walking around with AR-15s. And the noise has not stopped. Has not stopped.
This is just like Occupy Wall Street, except for people feel even more righteous than they did then.
Well, I mean, when they were on the Rose Kennedy Guardway, I mean, they just stunk up the place real bad. I mean, they didn't install any kind of barriers, and there weren't any there weren't any people walking around with guns. Of course, there were guns among all the junkies and the hobos, but they weren't openly brandishing weapons.
Right.
844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Moby Dick's on Route 6 in Wellfleet. Don't let the lines deter you. It's worth the wait. From seafood gumbo to lobster rolls, Moby Dick's has it all. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds. By Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK.
The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan.
8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. If Donald Trump is reelected,
Taylor, you there?
The demagogues around the world.
We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS.
It would put 720 million women back in the workforce.
I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP? Yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing?
Bills that the future president here, that the senator is talking about.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worried much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe being there. I really felt like King Farouk, I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother."
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Zuko from Hanson, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Even Dr. King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's death did.
Come on. Rioting and looting, that's worldwide impact. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips. I'm holding it up, the powdered version. to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will the residents of Chaz be evicted by the end of the weekend?
No, I don't think so. Look at how long it took them to get the vermin out of the Occupy Wall Street encampments, even though there were drug overdoses, rapes, all kinds of, and maximum stinkiness.
67% think they will not be evicted anytime soon.
Donald Trump tweeted out last night, radical left Governor Jay Inslee and the mayor of Seattle are being taunted and played at a level that our great country has never seen before. Take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. This is not a game. These ugly anarchists must be stopped. Again, in all caps, immediately, move fast, exclamation point. To which the rapper responded, the president really put a hit on my head. I'm not a terrorist warlord. Quit spreading that false narrative. The world has never, he capitalizes never, been ready for a strong black man. We have been peaceful and nothing else. If I die, don't let it be in vain. Have we heard from Raz Simone's mother, by the way?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
Have we heard from Raz Simone's employer? No, I didn't think we'd heard from him.
How dare you?
844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. 508 says, want to end the occupation of Chaz, cut the electricity to public and outdoor receptacles so cell phones cannot be charged. Everyone will go back to mom's basement by tomorrow. That, you know what? That really sounds like a better idea than charging the barricades. That they would be fading fast if they couldn't get on their cell phones. Officer Mark says, has Granny Warren claimed that she provided the intellectual foundation for Chaz? That's pretty good, Officer. She provided the intellectual foundations for Occupy, as you know, until people realized that Occupy was just another hoax, and they backed off of it. And then she forgot she ever said it. 413, funny how all these advocates of gun bans are now walking around with AR-15s and AK-47s as well. It's an open carry state. 844-500-4242. These Antifa thugs in Seattle were made for the RICO statutes. Yeah, the thing is, you'd have to do some kind of undercover investigation. Project Veritas is up for it, but I don't think that the FBI is. The FBI is it's just a different arm of the Democrat Party, you know, Antifa, the FBI, same thing. 844-500-4242. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
How you doing, Howie?
Good.
Good. I just thought this might start to spread to other cities like San Francisco or other cities that are having trouble with the homeless population before this ever gets shut down. But this is kind of amazing, actually. But what do you think about that?
Where are they going to? At what point do they shut this down? You know, I mean, how do they? Are they just not going to ask anybody who's in that area to pay taxes? And what if they do need help? What if they need an ambulance? What if there's a fire? You think any of the hippies can put out a fire?
I think they could start one.
I mean, of course they can start one. Anyone can. See, the problem here is they're very stupid. They don't seem to realize anybody can start to do anything. The problem is finishing it. Charlie Baker in Massachusetts could start a shutdown, but he can't figure out how to get out of it now. You know? Inslee and the stupid mayor have let this thing start, but they don't know how to stop it now. I'm Howie Carr. Everyone knows PayPal, but did you know they're teaming up with Honey to save you money? Honey is the free online shipping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. And now it's part of the PayPal family. Just add Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite sites like normal. When you check out, just click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including including Walmart, DoorDash, Home Depot, Lululemon, Macy's, and more. And Honey has found its users over $2 billion in savings.
You go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on?
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. This is from City Journal, Anarchy in Seattle. In a stunning turn of events, the city of Seattle made the decision to abandon the East Precinct and surrender the neighborhood to protesters. Black Lives Matter protesters, Antifa black shirts, and armed members of the hard-left John Brown Gun Club seized control of the neighborhoods. They even put up a cardboard sign at the barricades declaring you are now leaving the USA. I guess that means their EBT cards don't work anymore. No more food deliveries. And again, most importantly, I think, at least in the short term, no more cell phone service. That would be the way to get their attention. Raz Simone, the local rapper, people are telling me online that he owns multiple properties and is as an Airbnb landlord or renter, whatever you want to call him, and that he's got some money. He now swaggers around the Chaz with an AK-47 slung from his shoulder and a pistol attached to his hip, screamed, "This is war," into a white and red megaphone and instructed armed paramilitaries to guard the barricades in shifts. Later in the evening, Simone was filmed allegedly assaulting multiple protesters who disobeyed his orders, informing them that he was now the police, sparking fears that he was becoming the de facto warlord of the autonomous zone. Nikita Oliver, a radical activist and former mayoral candidate, she's emerging. She's I guess she's the deputy warlord. She announced, "We need to align ourselves with the global struggle that acknowledges that the United States plays a role in racialized capitalism." Whatever the hell that is, racialized capitalism. Racialized capitalism is built upon patriarchy, white supremacy, and classism. They're demanding the retrial of all racial minorities serving prison time for violent crimes and the replacement of the police with anonymous, quote, restorative, transformative accountability programs. I don't know. What do any of these words mean? According to a Seattle police officer with knowledge of internal deliberations, the city's leadership is in chaos, and the mayor has made a decision to let a mob of 1,000 people dictate public safety policy for a city of 750,000. Good Lord, what a mess. 844-500-4242. Dave, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dave.
Howie, what's the over-under on how long it is before someone in Chaz gets mortally wounded by a gunshot?
I would say, I hate to say it, but what do you think, Dave? I mean, this is not going to end well under any circumstances, is it?
Trump keeps saying if you don't do it, I will. He really has to, because he's taken a huge hit in the polls. And is that because he said he was going to send in troops to restore order, and he didn't? And he had Mike Esper, his Secretary of Defense, openly defy him and didn't fire him on the spot. I mean, come on.
Do you really? I mean,
enough.
Dave. I mean, do you really think this is bad for him long term? I mean, there is going to be a backlash here. I mean, the silent majority is more silent than ever because you get canceled out, don't you? I mean, nobody wants to say anything. But do you think most of the people in Seattle? I mean, it's a very left-wing city. We all know that. But do you think happy with this? Is this good for the city? Is this good for property values? Is Seattle a place where you'd like to raise your children?
It can't be, but it just defies belief, really, Howie. And the other thing is, maybe there's a backlash, yeah, but is it enough to win him the election with the Democrats trying to steal it at every turn? I mean, let's not forget that they want to get a result, and they're doing the best they can to get that result.
Well,
and
I know
one of the ways they're doing it.
I know. Well, he's got to do something about the theft. I mean, and I hope he is. I hope they're spending, they keep talking, they're spending all this money on social media. Well, I hope they're spending money to make sure that the Democrats aren't going to be able to steal the election, because you're right. That is their goal, obviously. 844-500-4242. Barbara, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Barbara. You there, Barbara? Nope. Alan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Alan.
Hi, Howie. Thanks for taking my call.
I just wanted to say that Saul Alinsky's book, Rules for Radicals, you look up who he dedicated that book to. I think that tells you exactly all you need to know right now.
He dedicated it to the devil, right?
Exactly. Because I mean, really, these states with the blue governors and the blue mayors, I believe they're going to let this chaos happen because that's just what they want, chaos. I mean, for a governor of any state to pretend that he didn't know that was going on is ridiculous. I mean, if he doesn't know what's going on in his own state, maybe we should question his ability to do his job. I mean, really. I mean, for any official to stand back like that in the eye of the public and to pretend that he didn't know what was going on should send everybody's hair on the back of their neck right out. Because I mean, I live in a state with a blue governor. I mean, what if she decided just to pretend that she didn't see what was going on? I mean, it's awful. Remember the Sonata brothers when they shot up Boston? Could you imagine if the police never did their job and let that chaos happen?
Well, I know. Well,
force.
I mean, Alan, that's a whole nother thing about this situation with the Berklee College of Music. They won't let the Boston police in the lobby of their performance center. That performance center is no more than 4 or 5 blocks from where the Tsarnaev brothers, the Muslim terrorists, tried to blow up the Boston Marathon 7 years ago. And now, you know, they were the heroes, the Boston cops. They ran to the explosions. They tried to save as many people as they could. There was like wartime like carnage out on the street, limbs everywhere, people dead, blood. And the Boston police were the heroes. And now, 7 years later, this little musical school with a faculty that has touched everything but the third rail won't let the cops inside. I mean, it's just crazy what's happened. Thanks for the call, Alan. I got to avoid using that word crazy. It's too easy. It's become a cliche in this environment. Joe, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Joe.
Howie, I want to know why these guys aren't being treated as armed enemy combatants on U.S. soil. Strip them of their citizenship, strip them of the welfare that I'm sure they're all getting, and if they want a war, give them a war.
Yeah, but then they're not gonna fire on them, Joe. I mean, they got people in there who just want to go about their business, who just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, what would you do? What would you want to happen if you owned a building in there? If you owned an apartment in there? You wouldn't want them to come in shooting, would you?
I'd be willing to burn my own house down to get them out of there.
I think you got to try to starve them out or somehow force them out. You know, they invited a bunch of homeless in there a couple of days ago, and the homeless did what the homeless do. They stole all the food. And so then they were begging for we talked about this a little bit yesterday. They were begging for food shipments. I mean, how do you set up an autonomous zone if you're not in control of your own food supply, if you're not in control of your own energy or water supply? They're the furthest thing from autonomous. They're totally dependent on America, as they would say.
Howie, it wasn't just food. It was soy products and vegan substitutes and nuts and oats. It wasn't just regular food that they stole. They stole the good stuff. Granola.
What did the warlord say? Is he angry about this? He had an AK-47. Why didn't he stop it?
Food. They stole all our food. We never thought this was going to happen.
Mom. Is Chaz going to celebrate Flag Day on Sunday, by the way? And Trump's birthday? Incidentally, we're celebrating Trump's birthday today. We have a special deal. Here's our T-shirt. Our new T-shirt. This is the first time you've seen it on TV. It's been up on our website. Free America. That's what it says. Free America. Free is a verb in Massachusetts and Maine and the other blue states. And down here in the red states, it's an adjective describing America. Free America. And when you buy a Free America T-shirt, you will also get a copy of what really happened, how Donald J. Trump saved America from Hillary Clinton, the story of the 2016 campaign. And this is for Donald Trump's birthday and for Flag Day, but it's today only for one price. If you buy the T-shirt, you get a copy of What Really Happens, and which costs the same as the T-shirt. So it's a great deal. HowieCarrShow.com, click on store. HowieCarrShow.com, click on store. Anthony, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Anthony.
Howie, you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see about 10,000 of the Proud Boys that used to protest in Washington State to support America. I'd like to see thousands of them show up at every barricaded street and have them.
I don't want it. Do you really want any confrontation? Wouldn't it be better to starve them out? I don't want any. I don't want any armed uprisings going on. Do you? Come on.
I'm saying armed. I'm not saying armed, but this is like a Red Dawn. You know, where's Patrick Swayze when you need him?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this here is getting crazy, and the only one who's going to clean it out is going to be a resistance from inside communicating with outside, because our police force and our government's not going to do it.
Yeah, you know, someone texted me yesterday and said if they really had a Red Dawn situation here, you know, with an invasion, there wouldn't be an uprising anymore. Everybody is turned into sheeple. I mean, that's the whole lesson of this COVID-19 lockdown, that there isn't more unrest about this. There aren't more protests about what's happened. That gym owner in Oxford, Massachusetts, you know, we had him on the show about 4 weeks ago. He opened in defiance of this town manager who was an ex-state rep, and this fat little townie that was the Board of Health inspector, and he was dragged into Superior Court last week and told to shut down. I mean, he was ordered by a judge to shut down. They can riot in the streets in Boston, but you can't operate a gym in suburban bucolic, semi-bucolic Oxford. Thanks for the call, Anthony. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hi, Howie. You were talking about Palm Beach and having having identification.
Yes.
Back in 1980, I was working at the Palm Beach Bath and Tennis Club, and I was going up to North Palm Beach hitchhiking on the boulevard there.
Yeah.
And the cops pulled me over and asked me for my ID, and I said I didn't have one. He said, "Well, there's an ordinance. There's no hitchhiking here." They took me back to the club, verified my employment, took me down to the police station, got my permit, and then let me go. But I had no problem with that, and it was a time of sanity and decency, and how times have changed.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying, though, that I don't know when the permits went out, John. Do you know? I mean, I didn't know that they lasted until 1980.
It was in 1980 that
Yeah.
I'm
sure they went out shortly thereafter, and you could never get away with asking someone for an ID now in Palm Beach or anywhere else. But you killed it. Chaz gets away with it. They're rabid left-wingers. They support gun control for everyone but themselves. They want open borders, and anyone can come in anywhere except into Chaz. You can't come into Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone because that's their country. You don't have a country without borders. And when you enter Chaz, you are now leaving the United States of America. I thought we were going to have a world with no borders, but now apparently borders are okay for Chaz, for the leftists, for Antifa. Thanks for the call, John. I'm Howie Carr.
They call him the trash man, but we'll call him Captain Howie Carr.
This half hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Roman. Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Go to getroman.com/Howie to get a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. Do something for yourself or your dad and get him the hair he's wanted for this Father's Day. DiStefano Hair Restoration is now offering its once-a-year Father's Day special, which includes a free $500 gift. You could save close to $2,500 on a hair transplant of your choice. This offer was so popular last year that they are limiting spots to only 10 listeners. Dr. Highness did a great job on my hair, and he will for you too. To learn more about the Father's Day special, go to hairman.com/Howie. Howie. You may have more time on your hands now, so take advantage of it and get the hair you've been wanting for years. People always stop me and say it looks so natural. To take advantage of this great offer, go to hairman.com/Howie. DiStefano Hair Restoration has 5 locations in New England and is open for business. For more information on location openings in the Father's Day special, go to hairman.com/Howie. Get the hair you have always wanted today for yourself or your dad.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on,
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not
think
sure.
it was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020, and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Pietra from Haverhill, Massachusetts.
This is Myrnie in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
The rapidly rising, I don't know. He's getting bored with his own talk. I like talk like that, though. How about cut number 8?
The Constitution says all men and women are created equal.
No.
Very fake news.
No, that's not what the Constitution says. 844-500-4242. Will Chaz Bono
I'm
be
bored by my own talk here? But
will Chaz Bono be the president of Chaz? They're not going to be president. That is so patriarchal and Eurocentric. It's warlord. Or maybe Cadillo. I like Cadillo. 844-500-4242. 4242. Someone says, so you're just going to let him run amok, Howie? No, I'm not going to let him run amok. But don't you see they're trying to bait the president into doing something here? Then they'll really have something to use against him. The more I think about it, the more it seems like it would just be great to just jam the internet, and that would drive them crazy. That would drive them out before going hungry would. They would rather go hungry than go internetless, I think. 844-500-4242. JJ, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, JJ. You there, JJ? Jim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jim.
Hi, Howie. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. Listen, I have a copy of The Birth of a Nation, Gone with the Wind, and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Is there a book burning scheduled anytime soon?
How dare you?
You better hang up soon so that the PC police can't track your phone call and come visit you. You're not going to be welcome in the People's Republic of Chaz, Jim. Thanks for the call. Pete, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Howie, a couple of quick things. One, I think Trump needs a real wartime consigliere, if you know what I mean. And
he's his own consigliere, don't you think, Pete?
I'm nominating. I don't know. I'm nominating Chris Christie for that position.
Oh my God, no! Chris Christie came up with the idea of making Christopher Wray the director of the FBI. Pete, he's lucky he doesn't sleep with the fishes for that one alone. In a political sense, of course, you know. Can't be. I don't think Chris Christie likes him. I think Chris Christie still resents him. I mean, they blow hot and cold, and he pretends to like him. But I don't. What I'm told by insiders is that Chris Christie really hates him, and it would certainly seem that he hates him if he recommended a nitwit and a deep state snake like Christopher Wray as the director of the FBI. Certainly one of the most important positions there is when the secret police of the Democrat Party is trying to overthrow your administration. And you put in one of them as the boss to continue the cover-up. I'm Howie Carr.
Over the
Hey, we didn't come here to talk about your movies. We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism. I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I mean, if somebody would right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's. Okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language, no question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Live to Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood, where protesters are set up outside the East Precinct for the 13th day.
What's your thought on the fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely?
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it.
And what is Aleppo? You're kidding? No.
I have not heard anything about that. Any credible source.
Network 90, that appears to be in the New Republic of Capitol Hill. They can handle that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
The East Precinct, it was the flagship of the Seattle Police Department, and it has now been taken away from them.
What role does a police force play in your ideal conception of what a safe public would look like?
That would be like a nirvana, a utopia.
You're robbed on vacation. You have no cash, no credit cards, nothing. What'll you do? What will you do?
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
The Constitution says all men and women are created equal.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know. I'm beginning to get bored by my own talk here.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We're going to be starting our rallies. The first one we believe will be we're just starting to call up, will be in Oklahoma. We're going to be coming into Florida, do a big one in Florida, a big one in Texas. We're going to Arizona. We're going to North Carolina.
We're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I guarantee you, Jay Inslee isn't the only major Democrat politician who doesn't know what Chaz is. Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in the center of Seattle. What do you think Joe Biden would say if you asked him what Chaz is, considering he thinks that the Constitution says all men and women are created equal? 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon, it's another day of turmoil in the United States of America. The blue states remain locked down, and open insurrection in Washington State and Seattle. The stock market is down as coronavirus upticks are being reported. I didn't think the stock market was affected by that any longer. I thought they had sloughed off and realized that only, for all practical purposes, only the frail and the elderly are at risk, and no one wants the frail and the elderly to die or to be at risk. But for most people, this is not a matter of life and death. I mean, it's as simple as that. They're not going to die, and if on the off chance that they get sick, they're probably not going to get that sick, and they're probably not going to die. In Massachusetts, they're still talking about shutting down the schools partially in the fall, even though 0 deaths have occurred among people who go to public schools under the age of 20. 0 deaths, and they're talking about shutting down the schools. I don't get it. We're going to talk more with the Secretary of Health and Human Services later in the hour about that. He's coming to Boston tomorrow as part of the Open Up tour by the Trump administration. I hope he's going to talk to the governor and the governor of Maine, and for that matter, the governors of New Hampshire and New York and Vermont and Connecticut and Rhode Island and New Jersey, for that matter. All the Northeast is shut down. Some states more than others, but it's not a good situation here as the summer begins. Joining us now is Grace with the news.
Grace Curley with Grace's News, and it is brought to you by Boomer Naturals face coverings. Charlie Parker has spoken, and now you need a face covering. So get a comfortable one at HowieCarrshow.com. When you click on the Boomer Naturals banner, you can save 20% with code word HowieCarr20. They are sponsoring this portion of Grace's News. And the first story I have to tell you, Howie, it's a good one. It's big news. It's earth-shattering. In fact, Taylor, I hope you have the sound effects ready because this is going to blow people's mind. The protests have come for Paw Patrol. Ruff, ruff. Paw Patrol is a children's cartoon about a squad of canine helpers. It is basically a pretense for placing household pets in a variety of cool trucks. The team includes Marshall, a firefighting Dalmatian, Rubble, a bulldog construction worker, and Chase, a German Shepherd who is also a cop. In the world of Paw Patrol, Chase is drawn to be a very good boy who barks stuff like "Chase is on the case," and all in a police's pup's day.
A beautiful dog, a talented dog.
As he rescues kittens in his tricked out SUV. But now people are calling for the end of Paw Patrol. So this is what happened.
Because it's police? Because it's a police show of sorts? Is that why?
There you go, Howie. Now you're using the woke side of your brain. When the show's official Twitter account put out a bland call for Black voices to be heard, commenters came after Chase. Euthanize the police dog, they said.
Euthanize the police dog?
Defund the Paw Patrol.
That's hate speech.
They're just a human being. This is the worst one. All dogs go to heaven except the class traitors in the Paw Patrol.
Do we have to take these people seriously who say stupid stuff like this, Grace? Or why are they taken seriously at all? I mean, how is this any different? How is this any different than writing something on a bathroom wall?
Well, here's the thing, Howie, is that I would say the same thing. I would say this is a goofy thing on Twitter that actually the right promotes to show how ridiculous the left is. But it does have ramifications in real life because last week, Tom Sharpling, an executive producer of that show, Monk, that used to win all those awards, criticized his own show. And this is what he said. If you, as I have, worked on a TV show or movie in which police are portrayed as lovable goofballs, you have contributed to the larger acceptance that cops are implicitly the good guys. Griffin Newman, an actor who appeared in 2 episodes of Blue Bloods as a detective, donated his $11,000 in earnings to a bail fund, inspiring other actors who have played cops to do the same.
I want to see who they bailed out. Can we get a listing on who they bailed out and what they did in the immediate aftermath of their making Bond?
Can we also just talk about $11,000 for 2 episodes of Blue Bloods? Who's ever casting Blue Bloods, if you need an extra, hit me up. Howie, Lego has halted marketing on its Lego City police station and police highway arrest sets. And as we talked about yesterday, A&E has pulled Live PD and
Cops has gone off of Paramount.
Has left, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really happening.
They're talking about doing away with all police procedurals on TV. I mean, I thought those were some of the most popular shows there are.
We're going to have to download all of Howie's favorite old-time radio episodes of Sergeant Friday.
No, and
I know, and this is your FBI and
Highway
the FBI
Patrol.
and War and Peace and the lineup.
Make sure you DVR your Highway Patrol and your
I know.
12.
But what about the big
Let me give a
Dick
warning
Wolf.
to YouTube. You better leave those highway patrols alone. Get your dirty paws off Captain Dan Matthews.
Get your dirty paws, patrol. But Howie, the other thing is, what about the other show, Dick Wolf's Law and Order? That's like a dog whistle now. They say Law and Order is racist. Dun 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 dun.
How about all those CSI shows have to go now, right?
Oh my God, those are already so stupid.
And all the reruns.
I know, and people love those shows.
How about all the real life police shows?
Tom Selleck said of 2 cop shows.
What about Diagnosis Murder?
Oh, very good show.
Oh, or Hawaii Five-0.
I was just thinking that Hawaii Five-0. Yeah,
what's the guy's name in Hawaii Five-0?
Steve McGarrett.
No, Howie, who's the character who they always tell to go find
Danu.
a blue Mercedes
Danu.
with an X in its license plate?
Yeah.
I'm on it, boss. And
Book him, Danu. Murder
30
one.
seconds later. But Howie, I have another big story. You know, this news today just made me giggle, which is nice because I haven't laughed at the news in a long time. But thankfully, celebrities always know just what to do to crack me up. Celebrities have teamed up with the NAACP for a video, and this one is an I Take Responsibility PSA. Now, Howie, it's a cringeworthy video. They're getting backlash just like they did with the Imagine video that they all sang into their phones for.
Yeah.
But this one I find interesting because I don't think you will know.
This is one of those situations, Grace, where you whatever they say, it just means the opposite. It's like when somebody says, to be honest about it, or frankly, let me tell you. In this case, saying I take responsibility means they take no responsibility.
Yeah, they're telling you that you need to take responsibility.
Right, because we need to have a national dialogue. And the national dialogue means that somebody wants to yell at you, and you better shut up.
So, Howie, what I wanted to do with this, rather than play the cringeworthy sound, because I don't think you'd be able to get through
Thank you,
much of it,
Grace.
I thought of something else.
I take responsibility.
Uh-oh. I take responsibility for not being in this video. I want to name some of these actors, Howie, and I want to see if you can tell me one thing that any of these people are in. Okay, let's start. Aaron Paul.
Ooh, I know.
No, you don't. Nope, Taylor. It's got to be Howie.
I don't know.
Okay.
Breaking Bad.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Ooh, I know.
Howie.
No.
Jurassic World.
Deborah Messing.
Ooh, I know.
Howie.
She was in something, but I've read her bold-faced name on page 6, but that's as close as I could come.
Will and Grace.
Very good, Taylor. Kristen Bell. Howie.
Oh, I know.
Kristen Bell? No.
Yes.
I don't know.
The Bad Place.
Yes. Julianne Moore. Howie.
Or is it The Good Place? It's The Good Place.
I know Michael. Is she related to Michael Moore? He's a very fat guy who made some bad movies, some quote-unquote documentaries.
We got 2 more. Justin Theroux.
Julianne Moore was also in a Jurassic Park movie, and she was in The Big Lebowski.
Yes. Justin Theroux.
He wrote on Walden Pond.
On Golden Pond, you mean?
No, I'm talking about Walden. That's Henry David Thoreau. I'm sorry.
And Howie, I'm going to give you one more.
Yes.
And this one you might actually be able to get. Stanley Tucci.
I give up.
I know who he is. I just forget. He's been in a lot of things.
I mean, I only know him from The Devil Wears Prada, and that's probably the work that he's least proud of. But Howie, this is the point of that game, is that those people I just read to you, those were the heavy hitters in the video. There were some other people who I didn't recognize.
There were some people who were less famous.
Yes. There were people that were less A-list than those C-list actors I just named.
Alyssa Milano didn't show up?
She might have been in it, but I did not see her. And she's not featured in this little Brady Bunch picture they have
I
here.
just assumed that the white lady at the beginning with glasses was Alyssa Milano.
Oh, no, that lady is the one from the O.J. Simpson documentaries. I don't know her name. Guys, when we get back, I have updates on Twitter and Amy Klobuchar.
If you haven't tried Super Beats soft chews, you're missing out. These things are great. They're better than the powder that we've been using because they're very easy. You don't have to mix them up in a glass. You don't have to wash the glass afterwards in the spoon. You can just grab one and you just pop it into your mouth. It's like a piece of candy, and you have
They're
it.
so good, Howie. And Howie, I just wanted to tell you, there was an article today about the best candy, or every state's favorite candy.
Yes.
And Massachusetts was Skittles. And I thought to myself, I'd take a Super Beats over a Skittles.
Oh, definitely.
They're yummy, and they help your circulation. They're delicious.
Yeah. Skittles, you eat a Skittle, you feel bad afterwards, and you say, why did I do that? You eat one of these things and you got energy and you're ready for whatever your next task is in the day. Super Beets soft chews combine non-GMO beets with a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract used in Super Beets chews has been clinically shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy the way nature intended, without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. Now you can take just 2 delicious chews a day, anytime, anywhere, to get the blood pressure support you need and the energy you want. I've told you before, I take one in the morning before I take my bike ride. I get up in the morning. I have this little guy right before I even have my first cup of coffee. And then I have one before the show to give myself a boost of energy that I need for the 4 hours on TV and radio. It's great. It keeps me going, and it'll keep you going too, and you'll feel better. Do what I did and support your heart health with delicious Super Beets Chew. Get your Super Beets Chew today at superbeetsradio.com/Howie when you buy 2 bags, and you can see there's a lot of them in here. They'll throw in the 3rd bag for free. That's superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you by the Nauset Beach Inn. All Ocean View rooms are $125 from June 8th through the 18th. To grab one before they're gone, go to nausetbeachinn.com and click on special offers.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all expenses paid, taxpayer funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, get a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship; it's just authoritarian now. But let's call it Red China. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great. But I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person, never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Paw Patrol, we'll be there on the double. Whenever there's a problem.
How about the Andy Griffith Show? Is that out the window now?
Mayberry had a huge lack of diversity, Howie.
It did. Well, on the other hand, though, you know, Andy Griffith was a sheriff in North Carolina. I would have to think that probably about 98 out of 100 sheriffs back then in North Carolina were Democrats. So I'm going to say Andy Griffith was a Democrat. Does that, or Andy Taylor, does that save him?
Will you stop worrying about all these old actors? Chase the puppy is young. He's at the height of his career. Don't you understand this?
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Now, this is the powdered form. It's also good. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will the residents of Chaz be evicted by the end of the weekend?
No, I do not think so.
66% say no.
No, they're just starting to decorate. They're just getting accustomed. Guys, this section of Grace's News is brought to you by the Barley House in Concord and Northampton, New Hampshire. We talked to one of the owners of the Barley House the other day. They have amazing food, delicious burgers. I cannot wait to try one. Bringing people together for a great time and great food, including fresh ground burgers. Their amazing staff is determined to make your day better. Check out thebarleyhouse.com. And if you go to howiecarrshow.com, you can also... There's probably a few cheap bastard deals. Oh, Taylor's telling me there's only 2 cheap bastard deals left for the Barley House. So snag those up today. And while you're there, you can celebrate the president's birthday with a Free America shirt and a free America shirt. And then you get a What Really Happened with it.
There's the Free America shirt you can get. Just in time for Flag Day and the president's birthday. There it is.
Happy
and it also you also get
Mr.
What Really
President.
Happened. Free. So howiecarrshow.com, click on store.
Howie, Twitter is testing a new feature and it urges readers to read or urges users to actually read articles before sharing them. I find this to be incredibly condescending. This is what's going to come up. Okay. This is the prompt.
No, but you got to think that's a good move by Twitter to encourage people. I think there are a lot of people there's certainly a lot of people who comment on stories on the internet that they haven't read because it's pretty clear from their comments they haven't read the stories.
The whole thing to me sounds a little bit snobby. It says sharing an article can spark a conversation, so you may want to read it before you tweet it. I don't need Twitter giving me that. If I want to retweet something without reading it, that is my right. I have the right not to read things.
Well, they're not
and
saying
tweet them
that.
out.
They're not saying you can't do it. They're just suggesting that maybe it would be wise to read the story before you tweet it.
Howie, first Twitter told you to read stories and you said nothing, and then they start deleting your tweets and shadow banning you.
So sometimes, Grace, when you write a column, do you not like the headline? Is the headline not accurate?
Yeah.
So maybe you should read the story and the headline before you tweet it out. I'm Howie Carr. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50. Cape Gunworks is back open, based in Hyannis. Cape Gunworks remains open 7 days a week for all of your gun and ammo needs. The range is also open full-time. Cape Gunworks has in-person safety and certification classes at their location on the Cape, but virtual classes have once again been suspended. To learn more about Cape Gun's in-person classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's capegunworks.com.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Joining us now on the news line is Alex Azar, the Secretary of Health and Human Services in the Trump administration. And Secretary Azar is going to be in Boston tomorrow. He's going to be at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center as part of the president's Opening Up America Again initiative. Thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show, Secretary Azar.
Howie, it's great to be with you and your listeners. Thank you so much for having me.
So the first thing I want to ask you about is the stock market was down, I think, 1,600 points today after a really nice run. And a lot of the stories are saying that part of the reason it went down was because of there was a slight rise in some states of coronavirus infections. Is this anything to worry about? I'm not worried about it. Why is the market worried about it? Are you worried about it?
Well, I don't want to psychoanalyze the market and attribute the decline to anything in particular, but I'll just give you the perspective I've got on how we're doing, which is across the country, we're seeing hospitalization rates from COVID down. We're seeing our fatality numbers down to the lowest level in, I think, over 2 months. We're 5 days in a row of under 1,000 fatalities. Any one fatality is too many, but that's still a very positive development. But we are very vigilant. In fact, I just came from a task force meeting with the vice president, and we're very focused on about 56 hotspot counties around the country where, for one reason or another, we are seeing case increases. Now, many of those are driven by congregate care settings like nursing homes or prisons. But we need to be vigilant, and we're looking for community spreading, and we're on it. We're deploying CDC teams out there to get to the bottom of what is going on.
But that's 56 counties out of thousands and thousands of counties. That's a very small percentage of the U.S. population, isn't it?
That's right. And, we're in a situation now where because of the tremendous work of President Trump, the historic response that he has led, we're in a position to be actually surging in to outbreak situations. So rather than a single nationwide approach, we're able to actually identify, we have surveillance, we've got the world's top testing system, we're able to get in there, deploy in, and use the traditional tools, surveillance, testing, containment, healthcare system, and then pretty soon we're going to have therapeutics and vaccines also as part of a 6-part strategy.
Do you see any upticks from all of the non-social distancing during the recent rioting and looting across the country?
So first, I do want to emphasize that protesting is an important part of our American history, especially when faced with a tremendous injustice like George Floyd's death. But as a public health matter, we have to be concerned about people being in that kind of a setting, close proximity, without appropriate either distancing or facial coverings, and we have to worry about that. And the CDC director has said that he would actually suggest people who were engaged there that they might even want to get tested. On the violence side, Howie, here's what really troubles me about while respecting the importance of peaceful protesting, especially against such injustice. On the violence side, what concerns me is that we saw the destruction of testing sites that are vital in our most underserved communities to to do COVID testing. Here in Washington and elsewhere, we saw local pharmacies that have set up testing to make sure that the most underserved in our communities have the right to get tested, and those were shut down, vandalized, burnt, or destroyed so often.
Secretary Azar, what does having a number of testing sites and testing capacity mean if people don't want to get tests? I mean, we saw a network news crew was busted for putting cars into a line to make it seem like there was a demand when there wasn't a demand. In Massachusetts, they have a demand that a capacity that far outstrips demand, and I think it's that way in many states. What is it? It's like a vaccine. What does it matter if you have a vaccine if most people won't take the vaccine, just like they won't take a flu vaccine in the fall?
Well, it's an important question, Howie, because we built the capacity, and actually we aren't even using the full capacity, nor have we really at any point used the full capacity
exactly.
our public and private systems have. You know, there have been over 650,000 tests done in Massachusetts, and over the last 7 days, that's at an 8% positive rate. In Suffolk County, it's at 9.5%.
Awesome.
And, you know, that's not good enough because your international standards say you want to have a 10% or below positive testing rate that just gives you assurance you're testing enough people. And, you know, that's bouncing a little too close for my comfort, especially where the Boston area and where Massachusetts has been. I want to see more people getting tested there to feel more confident that we're getting everybody. Because what we got to do is we got to have enough surveillance and testing to identify any positive cases so we can contain them.
So obviously, Secretary Azar, we've been locked down, or many states, most states have been locked down for parts at least, and some states remain locked down for the better part of 3 months, more than 3 months. And yet people aren't getting tested. So obviously they've come to the conclusion that they're not at risk. And it appears they're not at risk. The average age, again, in Massachusetts is for death is 82. 60% plus are in nursing homes. Go to Minnesota, the average age is 86, and over 80% are in nursing homes. So does the average American out on the street really have anything to worry about from this?
Well, the key is the average American who's not experiencing symptoms. Unless they've been exposed, there's not really a reason they would need to get tested. We have that capacity available for them, but there's not a real need. I'm glad you raised nursing homes, Howie, though, because this is an area where we've asked our states and our state health officers to really step up their game because these are our most vulnerable citizens to COVID. 40% plus of our fatalities have been among nursing homes residents. We've got to ring fence those facilities, and we've asked them, get everybody tested in those facilities and regularly test the staff that are at them so we can protect the most vulnerable and prevent more fatalities in that situation. So we've got the testing capacity out there. It's available. But the people that need it just need to get connected into it. But it's there.
But many governors are playing political games. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, look at Andrew Cuomo has blamed President Trump for the fact that all the COVID positive patients were sent back into the nursing homes in New York City. There's a story in the Baltimore Sun today. You may have seen it being down in D.C. Where Governor Larry Hogan is being accused of not being honest with the nursing home numbers in the state of Maryland, and that it goes on in these different states. I mean, they're playing political games. They're coming after restaurants and gyms and golf courses, but they seem to be reluctant to do anything about the nursing homes. What are you going to do about that?
So I was actually up in Buffalo, New York there. I've been out in Pittsburgh, where one of the nursing homes in that area has really had significant numbers of deaths. And it really is quite distressing. We need our governors. They are the regulators, they are the licensing authority, the inspectors of our nursing homes. They must take aggressive steps. You know, I got to see, I was with Governor DeSantis at a nursing home in the Jacksonville area down in Florida. And what did he and his great health secretary Mayhew do? Great health secretary Mary Mayhew. They actually created COVID-only nursing homes. And so if you are positive or if you're recovering from COVID, you go only to those nursing homes and you don't have negative patients there. And if you become positive, you go to these nursing homes. That protects the staff because they know everybody they're interacting with is positive, and the patients can't actually infect each other. So it's a best practice we need to see instead of what New York did, for instance, of ordering COVID positive patients to be discharged out of hospitals and sprinkled about throughout a nursing home system that could infect negative patients, COVID negative patients, and also put our healthcare workers at risk.
Secretary Azar, obviously, I'm most familiar with the Massachusetts numbers. I study them every day on the coronavirus chart, and I look at the age breakdowns for deaths. And the number of deaths in Massachusetts under the age of 20 is zero. But they're still talking about keeping the schools, the public schools, shut down or partially shut down in the fall. I mean, is that a rational policy?
Hey, Howie?
Yeah.
Hey, Howie, I apologize. I lost you right there. You were just saying that you've been studying the Massachusetts.
Right. I just said
situation.
that in Massachusetts, Secretary Azar, there have been no fatalities among anyone under the age of 20. And so I was just suggesting, why should the schools be shut down, or be suggested that they partially be shut down in the fall if there's no danger to children?
Well, Howie, that's why I'm coming up to Boston and I'm traveling around the country, is to get the message out that thanks to President Trump's historic response to this crisis and work with our governors, we need to reopen. We've got to get back to work. We've got to get back to school. We've got to get reconnected to our healthcare system. And we have the tools to do it. We can get back to school. We can do so in a safe way. As you said, we all individually have to assess our situation and what the situation is of our fellow household members in terms of risk. But we got to be able to get back to school. Now, listen, there may be localized communities where there's a particular concern and local authorities need to be in the driver's seat on that. But we can't keep our economy and our schools and our healthcare system shut down long term. We've got the tools to do it and do it safely without being locked up in our home, all of us.
Are you going to tell this to Governor Baker in Massachusetts? Are you even going to see Governor Baker?
I am. I will be with my good friend Governor Baker, and he's a real expert in health care. Brings a lot to the table. He's been a good.
He thinks he's an expert.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'll tell you, I've only ever, and the president only ever had tremendous interactions working with Governor Baker, and I'm really looking forward to being with him in Boston tomorrow. But yes, I'll certainly be sharing the perspective that we've got, which is we obviously defer to state governors and our local leaders. They know what the situation on the ground is better than we ever could. But as an overall matter, we don't think there's any reason that schools need to be closed long in the fall, just as a blanket matter.
Neither do bars, for that matter. Now he's saying he wants to keep the bars shut down indefinitely, and the restaurants are being opened at a very slow rate. You could Governor Baker, Governor Mills in Maine, Governor Raimondo in Rhode Island. I hope you give a message to all the governors in New England to open up. We've suffered enough.
Well, Howie, what I will say is, listen, I'm the health secretary. I'm going to be flying up to Boston on commercial planes, as I always do and have been doing. I looked at my schedule. I'm going to be eating at a restaurant, and I'm looking forward to that. I got, when I get to be outside.
Hope it doesn't rain on you.
Yeah, I finally get to eat at restaurants. You feel like a human again, but you can do so in a safe way. It's appropriate. I'm the health secretary. I feel I can eat out, and I can get on planes, and I can stay in hotels, and I go into hospitals. Our healthcare providers, I want your listeners to know this. Our healthcare providers, I'm going to see this at Beth Israel Deaconess. They have protections in place for you. You got to get reconnected to healthcare. Our cancer screenings are down by over 90% in areas like Boston. Our cardiovascular treatments are down. We're not getting our kids vaccinated. We're not getting our preventive care. And those are every bit as much real health consequences as the spread of disease. So we've got to get back to health.
Wait till they drive you from the airport to Beth Israel. If you know Boston, you're gonna see it's like a ghost town. It's like it got hit by a neutron bomb. We need to open up the economy. I'm sorry to keep stressing that point, but it's really a sore spot in New England and New York and New Jersey as well. I mean, those states are shriveling up.
Well, that's where the president. That's certainly where the president is. And again, we deferred our local leaders. You know, these responses are locally led, state supervised, and federally supported. So we're in a supporting role, but we've got to get this economy going. You know, you saw the job numbers a couple weeks ago. I mean, just incredible growth in employment that we've seen, beating everybody's expectations who thought it was going to go down. We've got our small business, 73% of our small businesses are back up and running from a low of around 50%. So there's a thirst out there. There's a thirst in our employer world. There's a thirst from customers, a thirst from our employees, our students, our teachers. People want to get back to community, and it can be done in ways that are safe and appropriate.
Alex Azar, Secretary of Health and Human Services. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy your meal in Boston. And again, I hope the weather is favorable for you, so you don't get rained on, because there's only outdoor dining right now in Massachusetts. Thank you. I'm Howie Carr.
You're tuned into the Howie Carr Radio Network.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by 110 Grill. All Massachusetts locations are now open for outdoor dining on their beautiful patios. To find your nearest location or to sign up for their loyalty program, go to 110grill.com. Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Usually we just brush it off or blame ourselves, saying things like, I lost my mojo, or we avoid it altogether with excuses like, I had a long day at work, or sorry, honey, I'm just not feeling it. But with Roman, it is easy to talk about with a real doctor who could prescribe real medication. It's simple, safe, and totally discreet. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your own home. The doctor will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. Getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/Howie and
sorry, Howie, I didn't. If I talk to you during Newsmax hour, it goes out over Newsmax TV.
Okay. Yeah, there's no problem. There's no. I'm sorry.
It's just that mic picks up a lot more than the regular.
Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess.
If I have any...
amicable. That are newsworthy, and I think I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
I'm told Governor Phil Scott of Vermont just announced today that the schools in Vermont will be reopening in the fall. I don't know how they can keep them shut. If nobody's died, why would you keep them shut down? Are you going to keep the school shut down because there could be a scorpion in one of the schools or a tarantula? I mean, nobody's dead. I don't mean to take it lightly, but it doesn't seem to kill children.
Trump's on if you want to take him.
All right. Trump is speaking right now. President Trump. Let's take a little bit of President Trump.
They work together. We'll take care of our police. We're not defunding police. If anything, we're going the other route. We're going to make sure that our police are well trained, perfectly trained. They have the best equipment.
This is in Dallas.
Some of the things that we have heard, because I know a lot of the people in the audience and they're professionals and what they do, and they're successful people, and we're hearing things that are not even thinkable. I've never even heard of this before last week. It was like, it started about a week ago where I heard they want to close up all police forces. That's what their attack on a very liberal governor in the state of Washington is. We want the police force closed. It's not like they want to sort of bring a little money into something else. They want it actually closed. I'm thinking, what happens late at night when you make that call to 911 and there's nobody there? What do you do? Whether you're white, black, or anybody else, I mean, what do? You're dialing and there's somebody breaking into a house and it happens to be a violent person. There are violent people around, Pastor. Even you will admit that, right? We want to think the best, but you have some very violent people. And when they're breaking into your house at 12 o'clock in the evening and you're sitting there and you don't have a police force, they're actually talking about not having a police force. Well, that's not happening with us. We're going to have stronger police forces because that's what you need. In Minneapolis, they went through 3 nights of hell. And then I was insistent on having the National Guard go in and do their work. It was like a miracle. Everything stopped. And I'll never forget the scene. It's not supposed to be a beautiful scene, but to me it was, after you watch policemen running out of a police precinct. And it wasn't their fault. They wanted to do what they had to do, but they weren't allowed to do anything. It wasn't really their fault, but they were running down the street. They weren't allowed to do what they're trained.
As President Trump will continue following this in the next hour on Newsmax and on the Howie Carr Radio Network. I'm Howie Carr.
37, okay? There's never been a thing like that ever. Now I see that it's getting close to $40 a barrel and you're back in business, and we got it done fast, and we got Russia together with Saudi Arabia, and they cut production and they got it back fast, and we're very, very proud of it. The supply changed rapidly with COVID-19 or whatever you want to call it. I'd never heard so many names. You've got 30 names you can call this thing. I call it the plague from China. It's a plague. And it's not good. And it's not good. And it's could have been stopped. It could have been stopped in China, but they decided not to do that. And we'll have to figure that one out, won't we? So I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. This is a very spectacular place. And
any credible source.
Network 90, that appears to be in the New Republic of Capitol Hill. They can handle that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
The East Precinct, it was the flagship of the Seattle Police Department, and it has now been taken away from them.
What role does a police force play in your ideal conception of what a safe public would look like?
That would be like a nirvana, a utopia.
You're robbed on vacation. You have no cash, no credit cards, nothing. What'll you do? What will you do?
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
all men and women created by you know the thing.
The Constitution says all men and women are created equal.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know. I'm beginning to get bored by my own talk here.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We're going to be starting our rallies. The first one we believe will be we're just starting to call up, will be in Oklahoma. We're going to be coming into Florida, do a big one in Florida, a big one in Texas. We're going to Arizona. We're going to North Carolina.
We're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
During the break, I was listening to the president's remarks down in Dallas, and I was wondering, now, what do they have to be outraged about here? Because he was just kind of speaking extemporaneously, talking about giving aid to Texas after the hurricane, Governor Abbott, and, it was the VA hospitals and, privatizing some medical care for veterans, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing really to go crazy over. And then right at the very end, right before we went into the introduction, he mentioned coronavirus, and he said, or as I call it, the plague from China. And of course, the audience loved it. They thought it was pretty amusing, and there was certainly more than a slight element of truth to it. But I have a feeling, don't you, Taylor, that that's what they're going to tee off on him for tonight?
I don't know. Bill Barr's speaking. They might be going after Chaz.
Oh, Bill Barr is speaking now?
Yeah, he's at the same round table.
Oh, okay. We'll roll with that, and we'll follow that and play any cuts about Chaz. Time now for the chump line.
Paw Patrol, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
They're coming for all of them. All of them. They want to get rid of all the police procedural shows. What are they going to do? Bring back sitcoms? As if network ratings weren't low enough as it is. They're already lower than whale excrement.
Hey, Howie, I hear there's an airlift taking Hot Pockets into Chaz.
I've seen that a couple of places today, and they probably are. And if he says that, suppose Barr says we're going to cut off their internet service, we're going to jam their wireless. They're going to say, we're going to call the United Nations, man. They're going to. Next thing you know, they're going to cut off our weed. We'd rather lose weed than internet access. How are we going to get our porn, man? The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, taking time to send a big thank you out to all the windy doties of the world who, despite the onslaught of negative news at an ever-increasing pace, managed to keep a cheery disposition by doing what they've always done, listening to Howie Carr.
Hey, if you thought Starbucks coffee was expensive before, wait till you buy it in the Chaz Zone. $40 a cup for a small?
Something tells me there's not going to be too many Starbucks open in Chaz. It's not a Chaz Zone. It's Chaz, man. Chaz.
Only soy milk, no cream, no dairy products.
Yeah. Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, Chaz.
So we got this 6-block country in Seattle. What they did is erect borders. They got armed guards, and they're checking IDs for people coming in. Sounds vaguely familiar.
Sounds like what they were complaining about last week, right? They don't want any borders. They don't want guns. They don't want any IDs. So we can't have voter IDs to prevent Democrat fraud in the fall elections, but Chaz can have IDs to get in to their little commune that they're running.
We're off to see the warlord, the wonderful warlord of Chaz. Because we're privileged white kids.
He doesn't like being called a warlord, by the way. I'm just going to look at what he said when Trump said they had to do something in his tweet. What did he say here? Okay. The president really put a hit on my head. This is the warlord. I'm not a terrorist warlord. Quit spreading that false narrative. The world has never been ready for a strong black man. We have been peaceful and nothing else. If I die, don't let it be in vain. Yeah, he was very peaceful when he was threatening to beat up that graffiti quote unquote artist. It's amazing too that they don't seem to like graffiti taggers any more than you and I like them in the city. It's always the liberal Democrat politicians who call them artists. The warlord and the landlord both call them vandals, which is what they are.
So these moonbats want some nuts? I don't think they have any shortage of nuts.
Yeah, but they don't want any dry roasted, salted peanuts. They want them to be organic. And of course those are more expensive than the kind you get the generic Market Basket or Publix brands.
Dick Nixon here. The problem isn't that these people have no voice. The problem is they speak gibberish.
But you were going to say the problem is they won't shut up. You know, another police show that they really need a lot of in Seattle, and I owe this to a texter. Car 54, where are you?
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. You saw Gone with the Wind when it was in theaters? That means you're older than me. I remember when my mentor, Robert Byrd, showed me a photo of his peaceful protest on opening night. He was dressed up like a ghost, standing next to a burning lowercase t, which stood for terrible. So let's take his advice and ban this terrible talkie. I mean it.
Robert Byrd. Barack Obama was at his funeral. I think he spoke at it. Hillary Clinton called the former Grand Dragon or the Kleagle, whatever he was, of the West Virginia Klan, her mentor. When he was a butcher after World War II, he hadn't gone to law school yet. He was supplementing his income by recruiting Klan members. So he got like $5 or $10 for every Klan member he recruited in West Virginia. And he probably got a cut of the hoods too, and the sheets that he sold them. Sheets Bird, as Rush always called him.
My favorite part of Gone with the Wind is when the Republicans free the slaves.
They think that Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat. That's the line they're promoting when they're not tearing down statues of Abraham Lincoln.
First, Parker said the bars could open in phase 3, but then he felt the urge to make another decree. This pompous ass loves to pass any rule he wants, and the hell with you and me.
Exactly. We've got some more sound cuts from Polito that'll drive you crazy in the final hour tonight. And I did ask Secretary Azar to tell him to open up the bars and the schools and everything else. But I have a feeling it will fall on deaf ears. Charlie Parker is one of those guys. The door is always open, but the mind is closed.
Hi, Howie. Governor Patrick calling. There you go again, complaining about the removal of that racist Columbus statue. But I guess you looking at that statue is similar to millennials reminiscing their youth by watching I Love the 90s. But in your case, it's I Love the 1490s. You geezer, we're going to be fine.
You know, that statue in Columbus, in Columbus Park in the North End, it only went up in 1979, but it's a nice looking statue. I'm sorry it's gone. I hope it comes back, but it's not going to. Last night, in case you're keeping score at home, they ripped down Christopher Columbus statues in Miami, Houston, and Minneapolis. That's after Richmond and Boston the night before.
Didn't Monica Lewinsky give Clinton a Hickenlooper?
You got to hear this from Democrat
Is
Senate
that the brand
candidate.
of a cigar?
You got to hear this from Democrat Senate candidate. I think he may still be the governor of Colorado, John Hickenlooper. Candidate. You have it? Oh no, we don't have it. Okay, go ahead.
The pandemic created a moment where, when the shooting of George Floyd took place.
Is he spending too much time in his own craft brewery? Does he still operate that thing? What the hell is he talking about? He hasn't watched it once. I mean, most people have seen it 100 times now, even if they haven't been looking for it. And this guy doesn't know that he was, well, that he died of other causes, but he was choked. He was throttled by the cop's foot.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night. Dial 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. If you love the Chump Line and you can't get enough of it, we have Chop Chumps, the messages that didn't make it to the broadcast version that we just played. Chop Chumps goes up as a podcast every night after the show. Just go and get it wherever you get your Howie Carr podcast. Chopped Chumps. Everything is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, taking some time to send a big thank you out to all the windy doties of the world who, despite the onslaught of negative news at an ever-increasing pace, managed to keep a cheery disposition by doing what they've always done, listening to Howie Carr.
So we got the 6-block country in Seattle. What they did is erect borders. They got armed guards, and they're checking IDs for people coming in. Sounds vaguely familiar.
Who are the Chaz Seahawks playing in the first game of the National Football League season this year? The Chaz Seahawks. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Radio Network.
Want to take a little bit of a bar?
This
When
hour
you
of the
listen?
Howie
Carr Show is brought to you in.
They're all done.
They're all done. Did he say anything?
I don't know. I wasn't listening. I was playing the Chump Line.
Oh, okay.
I'm conferring.
Hey, and support a local family-owned business, White Birch.
I guess it wasn't anything really spectacular.
Oh, okay. System. A home security system that's so complicated you never use it. This is exactly the type of security system Simply Safe has spent a decade fighting against. They believe that simple is safer. Simply Safe was designed to be easy to use while protecting your whole home 24/7. Order online with the click of a button. Open the box, place the sensors, plug it in, and your home is protected around the clock.
And Howie, I just want to say, as someone who just bought a new house, that a lot of people won't be coming to your house anytime soon because of the new rules set in place for quarantine. So Simply Safe is awesome because it is easy. You can do it all yourself. You do not need to be an electrician, or you don't need to even be really good with technology.
Simply Safe was named Best Overall Home Security of 2020 by U.S. News and World Report, and their 24/7 professional monitoring and emergency dispatch starts at just 50 cents a day. Head to simplysafehowie.com and get free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's simplysafehowie.com to make sure they know that our show sent you.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation.
If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
You know what the
You are at
winters
the
were
right-
like at Plymouth
you are at the
Rock?
right-
Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals, and
Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl.
When the Second Amendment was written in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, they did not have in mind that people could purchase guns indiscriminately.
The president is acting like Pontius Pilate.
With all the uncertainty in the world, feeling safe at home has never been more important. It's why I want to talk to you about Simply Safe Home Security. They're longtime friends of the Howie Carr Show, and for good reason. Simply Safe has made it easy to finally get comprehensive protection for your home. There's no technician or salesperson that needs to come and disrupt your house. You don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. You just order online. Set it up yourself in under an hour, and your home is protected 24/7 with emergency dispatch for break-ins, fire, and more, all for just 50 cents a day. And we're not the only fans of Simply Safe. U.S. News and World Report named Simply Safe Best Overall Home Security of 2020. Go to simplysafehowie.com to try it out for yourself. That's simplysafehowie.com to make sure they know that our show sent you. That's simplysafehowie.com. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem. And it's
Okay.
actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes. We're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore
Tester,
me,
I mean,
ignore me.
that's
I
Republicans
was
could add
getting,
to
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truckstown, Pennsylvania, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
You know, sometimes they make a proposal to change the name of a place, and it just doesn't come off for obvious reasons. Back way more than 100 years ago, the people of South Florida wanted to honor Henry Flagler for building the railroad, Florida East Coast Railroad down to Miami and the Keys, and bringing development and increasing property values, et cetera, to South Florida. And they said, you know, we want to rename our town Flagler. And Flagler said, you know, I appreciate the honor, but I think Miami's a pretty good name. I think he was right. And, you know, I really don't think Chaz is a good replacement for Seattle. Seattle. Sometimes 3 syllables is better than 1 syllable, especially when it's the same name as Sonny and Cher's kid. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beats. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will the residents of Chaz or Chazville or Chazleton be evicted by the end of the week?
No, they will not.
33% say yes.
And Bill Barr was at the same roundtable in Dallas as the president, and he didn't say anything more about it. However, there were new developments today in Obamagate. A newly declassified document reveals that FBI officials circulated a claim that President Trump worked with Russia in 2016 and that his campaign was offered quote-unquote financial compensation to drop U.S. sanctions. The sensational claims were made by former British spy Christopher Steele, who was working for Hillary Clinton and who was known by the FBI and the State Department to be full of bleep. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He'd made up some stuff. He hadn't confirmed anything in the report. It was just pure crap. And yet they attached these lies, the FBI, to this report. A classified annex to an intelligence community report on Russia's role in the 2016 election. This was declassified by the new Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, the former congressman from Texas who succeeded Rick Grinnell. Steele was paid by the Democratic National Committee and the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign to gather opposition research on Trump. And even more importantly, they knew it was BS. Speaking of Miami, he had made up the stuff about, he said the Russians were running the campaign to swing the 2016 election out of the Russian consulate in Miami. There is no Russian consulate in Miami. The now declassified FBI annex referring to Steele says the most politically sensitive claims by the FBI source. They know he's a fraud, and they're calling him an FBI source. Alleged a close relationship between the president-elect and the Kremlin, et cetera, et cetera. It's just outrageous. Terry, we don't have time. We'll take some more calls when we get back. We're going to take a lot of calls in this next couple of segments. 844-500-4242. We'll play some more Joe Biden sound cuts. He's back at the top of his game, or should I say, the bottom of his game. I'm Howie Carr. Come back to Cape Cod at the only lodging inside the Cape Cod National Seashore, the Nauset Beach Inn, a place where you can sleep to the sounds of breaking surf at a price you can afford. The Nauset Beach Inn rooms are equipped with 2 queen beds, coffee makers, microwave, refrigerator, fireplace, barbecue on the grounds, and you can bring your dog. A one-of-a-kind hotel with a path to the beach just outside your room. That's NAUSET beachinn.com. An ocean view from every room at a price you can afford. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way. You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. Bernie Sanders is officially in the race for 2020. Well, let's look back at some of the septuagenarian's greatest hits.
Should we give tax breaks to billionaires, which is what Trump wants, or demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes?
You know, it's funny. Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
We understand your wife has hired a lawyer to represent her in a possible probe into a land deal that fell apart. This was back when she was president of Burlington College.
No, it was not when she was. Let me say a word on that. You know,
yeah, well, I just want to ask you, do you know she's under FBI investigation?
Excuse me. My wife is about the most honest person I know.
At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 Under spray deodorants or 18 different pairs of sneakers.
People should not be dying in the United States of America when they are sick.
We will raise taxes.
Here's Donald Trump Jr. proving once and for all the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
They hate Trump more than they love America. For them to try to take a pandemic and seemingly hope that it comes here and kills millions of people so that they could end Donald Trump's streak of winning. I don't know if this is coronavirus or Trump derangement syndrome, but these people are infected badly. To make this guy into a religious scholar, that's like saying Jeffrey Dahmer is a purveyor of organic and fine exotic meats. Adam Schiff is basically the Jussie Smollett of Congress on steroids.
Children are off limits. Remember this one? If 13-year-old Barron Trump is not off limits, Hunter Biden sure as is not off limits.
Because my name is Trump, if I took $1.5 from China, not $1.5 billion like Hunter, their heads would explode.
Who's your favorite Democrat? Go ahead.
Mitt Romney, Gail. Mitt Romney's my favorite Democrat. How about that? Please, Lord, in my next life, make me a leftist so I can say anything and get away with it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. And again, for the Flag Day and Donald Trump's birthday, we have a new T-shirt out, Free America. I'm holding it up now. And this is a large. Bruce from the Mets was asking me if this was an extra large. It says it's a large, but it does look awful big, Bruce. And along with the T-shirt, when you order Free America today, you get What Really Happened, How Donald J. Trump Saved America from Hillary Clinton. It's a great buy for $19.99. It's a great deal. So check it out at HowieCarrShow.com. Click on store, and this is a great gift for Father's Day, the T-shirt and or the book. But you get basically two for the price of one. Check it out. It's a great, it's a really cool T-shirt, I think. 844-500-4242, and we have other gifts for Father's Day too at Howie Carr Show. HowieCarrShow.com/store. We still have a few gift certificates to White Birch Brewing Company. We're out of the Barley House, but we still have some for the White Birch Brewing in Nashua. Check them out. It's a good place. 844-500-4242. Anita, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Anita.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
Hey, I have a few items. One of them is with all this rioting, you know what's coming? Vigilante. I don't know if people realize that, but it's coming. It's going to come. There are going to be those crazies out there.
Well, I think
who are gonna
you've
have
seen
had
some
enough.
of them already, Anita, and like in Chicago, some Latino gang members were in the streets, defending their neighborhoods from the rioters. And there've been looters that have been shot by people trying to defend themselves. And there've also been, how about the guy in Philadelphia that was blown up trying to blow up an ATM outside of a sports bar? We still don't know that guy's name, by the way. It's been a week, and the Philadelphia police won't release his name. But you're right; they're going to be
poetic justice.
There are going to be vigilantes. People aren't going to allow their life's work, their homes, their businesses to be trashed by these looters and rioters. And then the media insists on referring to everything as peaceful protests. And at worst, it's what began as a peaceful protest ended up in an orgy of looting and violence and rioting and arson and shooting at police in Boston. That's what happened. Thanks for the call, Anita. Nick, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, Howie, if I may, two quick things, less than 40 seconds. Number one, the Washington, D.C. Knights of Columbus, the photo op at the St. John's Episcopal. Any idea on the effort on trying to find out the desecration of all the Christopher Columbus statues in the last couple of days? The other thing is Kathleen Tevlak, right?
Yes.
State big shot, right? And please ask Joe DeGen about this next week. She interviewed Steele. She felt that everything he said was full of crap. She made it known through a series of memos.
Right.
Guess what? The main particular memo that she sent, Christopher Wray last year, classified it for the next 25 years.
Well, we know that she sent the memo. It's been declassified. It took 2 years to get it, maybe more. But she's the one who interviewed him before the elections, and he went in there and started telling her about how the Russians were running the operation out of their consulate in Miami. And this woman, I think she was an appointee, a political operative of John Kerry. She was a member of the Obama administration, and she knew he was an idiot. She knew he was a fraud, and she wrote a memo to the FBI, and the FBI just totally disregarded it and went ahead in early 2017 and just wrote that they call it a classified annex to one of their intelligence community reports. Remember that BS? Oh, 21 intelligence agencies in the United States agree on Donald Trump being an agent of the Russians. Well, I don't believe there are 21 agencies, and only 4 of them agreed, and they were all controlled by Clapper, Brennan, Comey. They're just Obama fronts, and they were just trying to frame the president. And it's this coup continues to this very day. Thanks for the call, Nick. Terry, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, Howie. First of all, I love your taste in music. I heard like an Albert King lick and Hey Bo Diddley and Oh Well, Fleetwood Mac, stuff like that.
Thank you.
Great. But your shows you were picking too. I was thinking if you called 911 in Seattle, you'd have to ask them that question. Somebody came in similar. Car 54, where are you? But since they can't have any choppers there, there's no flying choppers, then you'd have to order up Sky King to fly by, and get some help. But anyway, here in the D.C. area in Montgomery County, Maryland, you don't get all the other rights that they've already put out for Maryland from the governor, and in Virginia, you don't get all the rights in Northern Virginia, so that you get through the other parts of Virginia. But D.C. is worse than all of it, except you can get like 10 people into church there.
Yeah, I mentioned when I had Secretary Azer on earlier, the story in the Baltimore Sun about how Hogan has been apparently fudging the statistics on the nursing home deaths, and they have a coronavirus dashboard, like a lot of states do, and and one day last week the numbers of deaths dropped 310. How is that possible? I mean, how much confidence can you have in these numbers when they just keep flipping them around? You know, and they move people from one category to another category, from confirmed to unconfirmed. Guy texted me and he said his mother's in a nursing home where there have been no fatalities. This is in Massachusetts. And you go onto the dashboard and it says there have been 10 to 30 fatalities in that nursing home. I don't know how much you can trust any of these numbers. Thanks for the call, Terry. 844-500-4242. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Captain. Great show.
Thanks.
I have an idea here. They could set up a blockade around Chaz. I mean, we could set one up around Cuba. Why not just set one up around Chaz? You know, maybe starve them out or whatever. Jam their cell phones. I like the suggestion there. See how long they last.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the thing is, I mean, I would like to just, like you say, starve them out or jam their cell phones or whatever. But apparently the Seattle police are getting calls like saying, I'm being extorted. They're shaking me down. And I mean, they're not going in. How is this proper to allow organized extortion to go on in one area of the city? I mean, it shouldn't be permitted. And again, I'm not saying send troops in or anything like that, because whatever happened, it would be blamed on Trump. And that's why the Democrats like Inslee, the governor, I mean, that is one of the most amazing cuts I've heard in a long time. Jay Inslee, the stupid presidential candidate. Remember him? He was going to be the climate change candidate. He got about as far as Eric Swalwell and Seth Moulton. But he was asked about this yesterday at his coronavirus daily stomp down of the taxpayers. And we got to play this cut again. Cut one. This is Jay Inslee when he's asked by a reporter about Antifa taking over Seattle.
So what's going on in Seattle? There's this thing called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. What's your thought on that? The fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely? Regarding the dark.
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it. I have not heard anything about that from any credible source. Not that you're not credible. It's just like before I espouse an opinion, I should know of which I speak.
That amuses him, that there's anarchy in the largest city in the state. He's guffawing, chuckling. It's a knee slapper. Chaz is a knee slapper. Good Lord. Jason, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jason.
Hi, Howie. Wow. For years I've been trying to get on here. It's so nice to be able to get on your show. I love you. I love your show. I love everything you do. Thank you for keeping the nation aware. I live on Martha's Vineyard, unfortunately. And we have a statue here, Oak Bluffs, that they tried to take down.
Who's the statue of?
They'll probably try. It's a Confederate soldier,
Okay.
It was a gift to the island, whatever. But anyway, I'm waiting for Martha's Vineyard to turn itself into an autonomous island. It shouldn't be long. But what I wanted to say is that the statues and everything that they're taking down, Civil War related, they say that because these people raised arms against the United States. Well, I mean, what are they doing? Aren't they raising arms against their own country? They're creating an autonomous zone. They're armed. They say no police in. I mean, I really believe that. I never saw all the things that are happening now, and I really believe that our country is eventually heading for a civil war. This keeps up,
Yeah, I never thought that. I always understood that no society lasts forever. I never thought that there was a chance that I could outlive the republic. And sometimes I think about that. David Haranyi said that yesterday on the show from the National Review. He said this is the first time he's ever worried about the future of the country, and it is kind of a disturbing what's been going on. And I try to keep it light to a degree, but it's hard. I mean, the fact that that you have these, it's almost as disturbing that you have people like Inslee and Hickenlooper in power who know nothing and don't care and feel no obligation to serve their constituents by restoring order. It's very very disheartening. I mean, there should be a voter uprising. I'm not saying an armed insurrection, but these people should be ejected from office at the first opportunity. All right, thanks for the call, Jason. Everyone knows PayPal, but did you know they're teaming up with Honey to save you money? Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your card. And now it's part of the PayPal family. Here's how it works. Here's how you set it up. Just add Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite sites like normal. It only takes a few seconds to do it, and it's free. When you check out, just click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Grace has had more success with it than me. I mean, I just don't do that much shopping on the internet compared to Grace or compared to my daughter Charlotte.
My wardrobe, Howie. I am becoming an online shopping fiend, and thanks to Honey, all I do is click the little button, and any code that is eligible, it will try it, and then it will pick the best code, the best promo code that will save me the most money. I saved money today. I saved 20% off a dress and got free shipping thanks to Honey.
And the great thing about shopping on Honey for clothes is that you don't have to go to a mall and put on a mask. No masks required. Honey doesn't require you to wear a mask. So Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, DoorDash, Home Depot, Lululemon, Macy's, and more. Honey has found over $2 billion in savings. That's why it has over 500,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. Just ask Grace or my daughter Charlotte or me. I've saved some money too. Honey is free to use and installs in just seconds. Get Honey today at joinhoney.com/Howie. Again, I repeat, it's free and it's easy to install, and then you start saving money. That's joinhoney.com/Howie. Joinhoney.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone, Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Folan's Inn of North Sutton, New Hampshire. Just 90 minutes from Boston on the shores of pristine Kezar Lake. Perfect for year-round relaxation. Book your stay at folansbyinn.com.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touched them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money,
excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you can get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Uber Jason texts us. Inslee knows what's going on. He's a fraud. Just plead ignorance and you don't have to answer the question. Yeah, I think you're onto something, Uber Jason. The point is, though, only Democrats can get away with that. Can you imagine a Republican governor saying something like that when it's in this case, it is an armed insurrection in Seattle, in the center of the city. They've taken over a police station, and just say he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know anything about it, and he gets away with that. They do. I mean, the Seattle Times is a terrible newspaper, and the local TV news is local TV news. But still, I mean, you'd think somebody would call him out on this. 413, it's obvious these hippie rejects from the 60s who are now in power have zero gonads and are hiding until Trump steps in to restore order. And then they can criticize him. That's the other blessing here in disguise. Whatever he does, they'll criticize him for overreacting, even if it's just jamming the internet signals and driving them crazy because they can't get their emails. They can't post on Instagram. They'll still say that that was a violation of the Geneva Conventions. That was it was some kind of prohibited warfare mind control or something. I don't know. They'll come up with something. 844-500-4242. Taylor, let's play Biden being asked about the 94 crime bill during the NAACP roundtable, cut number 7.
Before I move us to the economy, I've got to go back to the first portion of that question, though, Mr. Vice President. You said that they were wrong in thinking that, but that is their feeling. So give them a sense of
there's no
why.
evidence. No, that's not true. You show me a poll that says that.
I didn't say any poll.
Show me
I
a poll.
said that.
Well, you said they think.
I said
speaking for young people.
No, Mr. Vice President, you're going to have to listen. I said I had an email from a couple of young people today. I didn't mention
okay.
polls.
All right.
And I said that was their concern.
It's a legitimate concern. They should be skeptical. He
just keeps repeating himself because it's like an old blues song. You repeat something twice while you're thinking of the next lyric. But if you're Joe Biden, you're going to come up dry when you think of the first lyric, let alone the second lyric. Dan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Howie, I got a good idea for a new TV show.
What's that?
We'll star Charlie Parker and Mayor of Boston. It'll be called The Further Adventures of Spin and Marty.
That was an old that was Disney, right? The Mickey Mouse Club, Spin and Marty, right?
Yep.
Wow, that was a long time ago. I could barely pull that one out myself. Spin, Charlie Baker being Spin, and of course Marty being Marty. I thought you were going to say, Dan, one that I've seen as a meme on the internet, Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the one I came up with today.
I like that one. Spin and Marty, 844-500-4242. MICKEY. Why? Because we like you. MOUSE. Jerry, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, Howie. Yeah, Jerry in Vegas. I'm grew up in Framingham, retired Marine. Just wanted to make a point of history because I've traveled all the Civil War battlefields, and even in Arlington, if you look at the headstones, if you go to the older sections, you know, most of the headstones are rounded on the top. But you walk in one area and they're pointed on the top. Those were Confederate graves. They made a distinct difference back then. And there's a lot of Confederate graves, even in Arlington. Most people don't realize unless you've walked the grounds. So what are we going to do? We're going to start digging those things up?
I know. And you know, when Nancy Pelosi says we have to get rid of the Confederate statues in the Capitol, you understand, Jerry, being a Civil War buff, 100% of those Confederate statues, what party do they belong to?
No, I used to work in the Capitol. Democrat.
Right. Right down the line. All the people their statues are ripping down, they're all Democrats. I'm Howie Carr.
We here at Matthews Brothers are just as anxious as the next fella to get back out into society. Not that we didn't enjoy all that quality family time over the past few weeks, all 5,301,672 seconds of it. And it was fun putting on a mask before going into the bank and the liquor store, and we really enjoyed calling window companies and begging for a salesman to come on out. And while the past few weeks may have given us a pretty good idea of what eternity will feel like, it also made us realize how precious and fragile our freedoms can be. It made us realize that although we were all in the same storm, we were not all in the same boat. And we realized that every job is essential, no matter what the government may think. Our thanks to everyone whose personal sacrifices helped us weather this storm, and especially to the men and women of Matthews Brothers who stood shoulder to socially distant shoulder as they continued their mission of providing consistently superior customer service. You can see the results of their relentless passion for making wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at better lumberyards and window professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't...
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
It's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This is the Howie Carr Show live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House. 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969 on WHDH News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater. The number again, 742-0850. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now, as far as your belief is that while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the Party House where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour, you think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not, I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases is people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time. Oh, la, 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 la.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's goody two shoes.
No, it's
favorite
not.
curse word
No,
if I
it's-
ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Live to Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood, where protesters are set up outside the East Precinct for the 13th day.
What's your thought about the fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely?
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it.
And what is Aleppo? You're kidding. No.
I have not heard anything about that. Any credible source.
Network 90, that appears to be in the New Republic of Capitol Hill. They can handle that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
The East Precinct, it was the flagship of the Seattle Police Department, and it has now been taken away from them.
What role does a police force play in your ideal conception of what a safe public would look like?
That would be like a nirvana, a utopia.
You're robbed on vacation. You have no cash, no credit cards, nothing. What'll you do? What will you do?
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
The Constitution says all men and women are created equal.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know. I'm beginning to get bored by my own talk here.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We're going to be starting our rallies. The first one we believe will be we're just starting to call up, will be in Oklahoma. We're going to be coming into Florida, do a big one in Florida, a big one in Texas. We're going to Arizona. We're going to North Carolina.
We're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Cruel and unusual punishment. That's what they would call cutting off the internet access inside Chaz. All right. A violation of the 8th Amendment to the United States Constitution. So I wanted to play a cut here. This is from yesterday's meeting of the Governor's Council. That's the group that rubber stamps, basically approves judges, clerk magistrates, et cetera, that kind of stuff. They haven't been meeting at the State House. They've been meeting virtually. And so Karen Polito still has to go in and chair the meeting as the lieutenant governor. And a couple of weeks ago, after her party was exposed, that she violated the rules that she was setting down for everybody else, she was asked about it by Counselor Marilyn Petito Devaney from Watertown.
Is there anything else you'd like to add today before we close out our assembly?
Yes, Lieutenant Governor, this is Marilyn again. I'm talking on behalf of my friends who have children who are graduating from high school. So they have asked me to ask you, will they be able to have graduation parties for children in any form, a way, barbecue, or whatever? They're very confused, getting mixed messages. So I'm asking you now if you can, so that I can tell them.
Okay.
And she had no answer to it. So yesterday, Marilyn was again at the governor's council meeting by phone, and she's just lost her sister. Her sister's named Grace, and she died at a nursing home in, I think, West Newton of COVID. And so, of course, Maryland is naturally very mournful. She's grieving, and they couldn't have a funeral. They couldn't have a mass. They couldn't have a wake. They couldn't embrace at the graveside. And she's got another sister, elderly sister, who is in assisted living, and she's doing okay, but I think she came down with it and is recovering. And so, of course, like everybody else, Maryland, this governor's counselor, Marilyn Petito Devaney, knows that most of the fatalities in this state are in nursing homes, which are the most heavily regulated industry in the state. And yet the politicians never talk about it because they get all this money. Baker got 52,000. Polito got 32,000. DeLeo, the speaker, got 47,000, and then it goes down from there to all the leadership. The president of the Senate, Spilka, got tens of thousands. The Ways and Means chairmen in both branches, the House and the Senate, Miklowitz and Rodericks, got tens of thousands. And so they're not talking about the nursing homes. So Maryland tries to ask a legitimate question, I think, of Karen Polito at the beginning of the meeting about the nursing homes, and just listen to her question, and you can hear the emotion in her voice, and just listen to how Polito just brushes it aside. And again, this is where 60+% of the people are dying, and Polito has no response to it. And after we play this cut, we're going to play Polito lecturing everybody yet again on how they have to toe the line if they want the state to reopen. But this is Marilyn Petito Devaney.
Lieutenant Governor, if I may, as a point of personal privilege, this is Marilyn. Can I just say, there's got to be a change. There's got to be protection for people in nursing homes and in veterans' homes. My sister was in a small nursing home. 20 other people got it. You know, we have all these precautions going into a store. We have arrows there. They're cleaning. They're cleaning the buses. What about the people who die alone? They die alone in the nursing homes. So I am pleading with the governor to oversee the nursing homes, veterans homes, assisted living. My sister Alice from assisted living is recovering from coronavirus. This should not happen.
Thank you, Marilyn. I'd ask Councilor Duff to lead us in a prayer and a pledge today.
Thank you, Marilyn. That's her response. She says, why aren't you doing something about the nursing homes? And that's all she says is, thank you, Marilyn. But by God, she's got plenty to say about grants for road building. Listen, this was today at the press conference, cut 17.
This is like the restaurant in your downtown or your main street that you might see opening now with outdoor dining in a parking lot or in a parklet or using sidewalks. These funds will be directly available for a municipality to help these businesses create more comfortable and exciting spaces in your community so that people can get out safely and enjoy the offerings at their local establishments. Some of these projects will help calm roadways, modify sidewalks or streets, and repurpose on or off-street parking where needed to better support curbside, sidewalk, and street retail and dining. Other projects will create safe connections to essential destinations and workplaces, including new and expanded facilities for bus transportation, putting in flex posts, and creating a bike lane.
Creating bike lanes and exciting spaces. How about some exciting spaces in the nursing homes where you don't die because the state does some regulating? The state wants to regulate the exciting spaces and calm the roadways and provide exciting dining experiences next to a dumpster in a parking lot, but they have no answer for what to do about nursing homes. She doesn't even bother to try to answer it.
Which task force or subcommittee came up with this grant system? You know what people really like to eat next to? Construction zones. It's perfect.
You know, as it gets hotter too, you know, it's really nice. I prefer to eat on the black asphalt or the tar, you know, because it sucks in even more heat than just dining on a concrete sidewalk. You know, we can get it up to 110 or 120 on that asphalt, where you might only get it to 100 on the sidewalk, right?
Who needs live music when you have jackhammers?
But she has no answer to what to do about the nursing homes. That's why I asked Azar about it. I mean, how do they get away with it? Why do so few people ask them about what's going on there? They get a total pass. And and again, I keep coming back to this. This is the same state government that gave you, well, Holyoke Soldiers Home, the Mass State Police, the Registry of Motor Vehicles, the Department of Children and Families, the state chemistry labs, where they had to throw out 38,000 criminal cases because the chemists were either ingesting or falsifying the evidence. And now we're supposed to think they can reimagine, what is it? Exciting spaces on the sidewalk. It just makes me ill. 844-500-4242. What's the number one sign of a bad home security system? A home security system that's so complicated that you'd never use it. This is exactly the type of security system that SimpliSafe has spent a decade fighting against. They believe that simple is safer, and it's exactly why SimpliSafe is the home security for right now, when feeling safe at home has never been more important. SimpliSafe was designed to be easy to use while protecting your whole home 24/7. Order online with the click of a button. Open the box, place the sensors, plug it in, and now your home is protected around the clock. No technician or salesperson has to come and disrupt your home. You don't need to pay any outrageous monthly fees or sign a 2-year contract. Grace just ordered SimpliSafe. She's got a new house and she wants it to be safe. It's the biggest investment she'll probably ever make. And this is how she's going to do it, with SimpliSafe, right, Grace?
I'm so impressed, Howie. It comes with cameras and a very easy setup, all the directions I need. And it just makes me feel good that my house is safe and everything in there is safe, including me.
SimpliSafe was named Best Overall Home Security of 2020 by U.S. News and World Report. And their 24/7 professional monitoring and emergency dispatch starts at 50 cents per day. Head to simplysafehowie.com and get free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's simplysafehowie.com to make sure they know that our show sent you. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by J.T. Kelly Real Estate Broker. He helped Carolyn Carr buy a house during COVID, and he can help you too. Contact him at 1-800-364-9200. That's 1-800-364-9200.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother." I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very
Warlord Raz's old tweets.
conversation.
See if you can.
Amiable, I guess you would say.
Hey, maybe I should get Taylor.
And
Taylor.
Yep.
Someone just texted they found the Warlord's old tweets. I can imagine what's in there. Can you see if you can find some?
Yeah, I'll look.
that people have, the list goes on about the
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Kent, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will the residents of Chaz be evicted by the end of this weekend?
No, I don't think so.
66% say no.
Someone just tweeted me that they have found the Warlords, Roz Simone, the aspiring rapper's old tweets. I have a feeling we're in for a tweet treat as those things come to light.
The ones I've found so far are not fit for air.
Really?
Really.
Will you ship them down so I can take a look at them anyway and see what I can do with them?
I did notice about maybe an hour ago he posted that his Twitter was hacked by somebody in New Jersey. I'm not
Oh
sure if that was
not are these the time traveling hackers again that took out what's her name, Joy Reid?
It seems like it.
Oh, they've struck again. Boy, time travel really screws things up for these for these warlords, doesn't it? He's been hacked. That's the last refuge of a scoundrel saying your Twitter account has been hacked. All right. 844-500-4242. The bad news the bad news is Massachusetts had another 45,000 people file for unemployment this week. The good news is there are a lot of exciting spaces that are going to be created with these new grants from the pay-to-play Polito administration and her boss, Spin Baker. That was a good Spin and Marty. Baker and Parker and Walsh, Spin and Marty. They're wonderful adventures. 844-500-4242. Let's take a couple of calls. We got a lot of other stuff to get to here tonight before the show ends. Bruce, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bruce.
Hi, Howie. Thank you so much for taking my call. So I'm wondering, in all of what's going on right now, where are the conservatives? Where are the Republicans? I don't hear a word from anybody but the liberals. And is every conservative in America afraid to talk?
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it. It's as if the Republicans killed George Floyd. This guy was killed in a city that hasn't had a Republican mayor since 1974. This guy Fry is a radical leftist. The governor of Minnesota is as much of a moonbat as Charlie Parker. He's kept the state shut down. The nursing homes are 80% of the fatalities in Minnesota are in the nursing homes. He said there were going to be 74,000 deaths from coronavirus. There have been about 1,000. How is George Floyd's death the fault of Republicans? It's not. And they want to they're tearing down all these statues. These statues are all Democrats. All Democrats. I don't get it either, Bruce. It's a recurring question. Where are the Republicans? They're spineless. Pierre Delecto is unfortunately not unique among the grand old party. Matt, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Matt.
Howie, soft men create disasters, and disasters create hard times. It's what we're heading towards right now, is a massive disaster. But the Chaz in Seattle is now a point of interest on Google Maps. So they have a physical address, and they are now listed as a actual point of interest or business on Google. So you could put in your GPS and actually go there.
As a business?
A page and
Monkey
all.
business.
As a business. Yep. And there's requirements. I'm in the online travel industry, so there's requirements that you have to enter to be able to be published on Google. You can't just go ahead and do that, and it has to be physical address and an active point of interest or business. And so it's published. You can go on there and see it yourself.
Taylor, would you describe the warlord as a misogynist?
I can't say I really know him that well.
No, but I mean from the tweets.
It seems they were probably more homophobic than anything else.
Homophobic? You're kidding. An aspiring rapper? Homophobic? Is this possible? What about the Big Tent Democrat coalition? Doesn't he say he doesn't celebrate diversity? Is that what you're telling me, Taylor? I can't believe that. Tug, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tug.
Hey, Howie, with respect to the unemployment, our police blotter this week in my hometown next to yours said there were 52 complaints to the police department about identity being stolen to file for unemployment benefits.
Wow.
What I called about was there was a I-Team report, I don't know if it might have been Channel 4, about a proposal to spend $400 million to renovate the old soldiers' homes in Chelsea and Holyoke where all those people died. The VA was going to pick up half of it, and it was going to, among other things, provide the ability to isolate people when they had contagious diseases. And the state turned their nose up at the $200 million they would have to pay, but we can spend $1.5 to $1.8 billion a year on illegal aliens.
Right. I think it's more than that now. That's what it was when Jim Lyons held up all the business in the State House. That was like 7-8 years ago. It's got to be over $2 billion now. So this is they had an opportunity to fix the soldiers' homes, and they didn't want the matching money because they had to put up $200 million. Is that what you're saying?
That's what the I-Team, I think it was Channel 4 that put the program on.
I'll have to check that out, Tug. Thank you. Thanks for giving me a heads up on that. We'll talk about Berkeley when we come back on Howie Carr. Working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycons start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging.
Howie, I just sent you the tweet in your email.
Oh, okay. You send them to McKay too?
I'll send it to McKay.
Okay. And Taylor, tomorrow, can you give me the Biden cuts for the last couple of weeks? Because I think I think I got enough stuff for a column. I think we reached the tipping point today.
Okay. Yeah.
No rush tonight or anything. Take it easy. But
Sure, no
okay.
problem.
So he's sending you the
Jared,
tweets.
what have you been eating the most during this quarantine?
I've been eating a lot of Indian food because that's all that's in the machine downstairs, and I'm really growing to like it.
What is your drink of choice during the lockdown?
My drink of choice, I'm definitely a Scotch guy. A nice Dewar's really does it for me.
What about a non-alcoholic drink?
Coffee.
What one TV show would you recommend to people who are quarantining right now?
One show, Star Trek The Next Generation. You can't go wrong. It's got everything you want. It's got high concept science fiction. It's got humanity. It's got great characters. It's the last truly great television show.
What is the biggest pet peeve about being at home?
I can see all the dirt that I don't clean, and it mocks me.
What is the biggest silver lining of staying at home?
I'd say wearing sweatpants, but I do that most of the time anyway. I'll say wearing my Spider-Man costume and not being judged.
What's one book you're loving right now?
I'm a big comic book guy, so I'm reading a lot of comic books. Right now, I'm going back over the classic Stan Lee, Steve Ditko Amazing Spider-Man run, about the first 40 issues.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable.
That they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no? Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, isn't it? The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of two poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. If you haven't taken advantage of the offer yet, we have a Flag Day Donald Trump birthday special. And here's our new T-shirt. It says Free America. It's red, white, and blue. It's an American flag with Free America across it. And it's a nice looking T-shirt. And when you order Free America t-shirt in honor of Donald Trump's birthday and Flag Day, we will also send you a free copy of What Really Happened, How Donald J. Trump Saved America from Hillary Clinton. It's so that you get the t-shirt and the book for one low price, and it's a great Father's Day gift if you need something for that, or two great Father's Day gifts: the book and the t-shirt. freeamerica.com, Free America, or Free America. Go to howiecarrshow.com and click on store, and you can order it right now. 844-500-4242. Here's what the warlord says. Someone is creating fake tweets from my page somehow. How do they do it? How would it hasn't happened since it happened to Joy Reid? 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Someone is creating fake tweets from my page somehow. Fake tweets that seem like they're from the past, and they're from my account somehow. Y'all are ridiculous. Thank you, Mr. Warlord. Y'all are ridiculous. All right. 844-500-4242. Yeah, you're right. I can't really read much of this stuff, can I?
I think you can say the word the and
and y'all.
Yeah.
Say the word y'all. All right. 844-500-4242. 508 says, I'm shocked. I thought for sure that Chaz would have been hoisting a rainbow flag on Flag Day. Yeah, well, just one of those things. Don't be too disappointed. Incidentally,
he's a good boy, a very good boy.
That's right. That's right. Thanks, Mom. Starbucks bans employees from wearing anything in support of Black Lives Matter. An internal memo sent to Starbucks employees last week specifically warned staffers against wearing accessories or clothes bearing messages in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. The memo, obtained by BuzzFeed News, reminds staffers that such messages are prohibited under the company's policy against accessories that, quote, advocated a political, religious, or personal issue. Numerous employees told the news outlet, however, that the company regularly allows or even encourages employees to wear pins in support of LGBTQ equality, especially during Pride Month every June. So they're gonna get some blowback now, I'm sure. Starbucks. No wonder Howard Schultz wasn't going anywhere as a presidential candidate. He wasn't woke enough, obviously. I know he doesn't run the company anymore, but he started it. 844-500-4242. Just want to say I really feel bad for the Berkeley College of Music Police Department, because they're taking a lot of crap from the BPD about this stupid letter that the president of the lame duck president of Berkeley sent out about saying that they weren't going to allow the Boston Police Department to use the restrooms anymore at Berkeley, because it was perpetuating feelings of oppression, silencing, and marginalization. So one student put out an Instagram on the cops going into the bathroom. And these were cops that were standing guard over the campus buildings, and they apparently have more than 20 campus buildings. They run all the way from down near the finish line of the marathon on Boylston Street, all the way down to the Fenway, to Hemingway and Ipswich streets. And a lot of the buildings got vandalized during the riots. I guess one of the buildings on Boylston Street, they knocked out some windows. They sprayed graffiti on a couple of the buildings in the Fenway, and there's a lot of crime in that area. They're only a mile from Methadone Mile. There's homeless people all over the place, and they rely on the Boston Police Department to help them out. There's only 20 of them, and now their name is mud, as they say, among the Boston Police Department, because they're just naturally being blamed because of this stupid letter. And this is what the president said at his last line about letting Boston cops use the bathrooms. Let us assure you, this should not have happened, and going forward, it will not happen again. And the ironic thing is, I found this out today. The cops that were using the bathroom, this was at the corner of Mass Ave and Boylston. They were members deployed from the sexual assault unit of the Boston Police Department, the sexual assault unit. Now, the irony of that is that Berklee College of Music has had to fire at least 11 members of the faculty in the last 12, 13 years because of rampant sexual harassment, groping people, getting women drunk and forcing them to have sex, dragging them into public bathrooms. And then they talk about this. We are deeply sorry for the impact this has had on our community and for perpetuating feelings of oppression, silencing, and marginalization. Silencing. I don't know what that word means in this context, but when the female students sued Berklee, and a number of them have sued Berklee for this grotesque atmosphere, it's like NBC News or CNN. They're treated so badly, or Senator Ted Kennedy's office. And when they settled, they had to sign agreements not to speak, agreements to be silent. So I guess you could say Roger Brown was for silencing the students before he was against silencing the students. This is ridiculous, though. And so now they have to deal with this problem, and they dragged in they threw the police chief of the Berklee PD under the bus, David Ransom. He's apparently a former El Paso, Texas cop, and he's just been kind of humiliated. It took him 10 days to write this letter. It's about like 300, 400 words long. And they just kept rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it and trying to make it as groveling as possible. And they certainly succeeded in making it groveling. So you can't let the cops in to relieve themselves. Apparently, even if they're wearing a dress, even if they're transgender. 844-500-4242. Jackie, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jackie.
Hi, I'm glad to get on your show. Howie, you inspired me when you kept talking about the nursing homes and all of what's going on. I've been keeping my own little log of all the COVID numbers in Massachusetts and the USA. And I found, and I looked at not just how many deaths per day, but I looked at how many actual facilities had infectious cases. And it was really weird. On June 1st, there was 349. Yesterday, there was 364 facilities that had cases. Now, wait a minute. Didn't this start in Washington on January 1st? We know these places are kind of dangerous and we should be protecting them. That's a rise of 15 institutions in 10 days that got infections.
I know, Jackie. And what about they're blaming what happened at the Holyoke Soldiers Home, where I think there's 75 veterans dead and some of the staffers are dead. And they're blaming it all on the superintendent, who's a political appointee and a contributor to Baker and Polito. And he's produced, and they said he didn't tell them that they were having this problem at the nursing home. And until a certain date, and he produced emails that he had sent to the head of Veterans Affairs, Veteran Services in the Baker Polito administration a week earlier before they claimed they were notified. So, I mean, who's responsible here? You know? Here's one from a 617. I'm a home care nurse, and I just did a telehealth visit with one of my patients whose mother is in a nursing home. She was crying because her mother was in a room with someone who developed COVID, so they moved her, and her new roommate just developed it as well. I told this patient just what you said. The governor is to blame, and all pay-to-play Polito can say is thank you. Baker and Polito have blood on their hands with this one, and it's completely disgusting and disgraceful. This is our greatest generation they just murdered. I mean, Marilyn Petito Devaney, she wasn't grandstanding when she said that. Her sister just died, and one of her other sisters is ill. And she wants to, and they're in nursing homes or assisted living, and she says, what are you doing? And all these people can do is go up there every morning or every afternoon and grandstand about the money they're bringing in. That tomorrow they'll be with Secretary Azer and talking about how they're studying the data with the folks and trying to do the right thing. And it's just BS. It's just they won't take responsibility. And we sent the guy down to Fall River to ask Baker, will he give the money back? And he didn't answer the question. It's just $52,000. And, people attack me in social media and they say, hey, he raised $8.5 million. What's 52,000? Well, if it's a drop in the bucket, let him give the money back. It's the least he can do. All these people are dead. Doug, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Doug.
Hey, Carr. How you doing, Howie?
Good.
Hey, I got two things. The first one is, drivers going down the road. I'm a truck driver. Hey, you see a cop on the side of the road keeping us safe, hit your air horn and put your big thumb out the window and give them a thumbs up and let them know we support them. And I just think that's important at this time.
That is, what, Doug, I hadn't thought about that, but you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
And maybe four-wheelers, you do it too. The other thing I have, I'm not sure if you heard about this or not. My wife does home health care. I'm not going to tell you what state I'm from. I listen to you on iHeartRadio. And she came down infectious with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I tested. I was negative. And so she had to isolate for 2 weeks, and they tested her again. And she was still positive. I was still negative. And this went on for 4 straight weeks. I mean, they need her to get out there and do her job.
Right.
So finally, after 5 positive tests, they told her, don't test anymore, because every time you test, it's a new positive result. And so I'm wondering, golly, how could we possibly have so many new test results that are positive? So, or new infections.
Yeah. And I tried to raise that point with the secretary. I said, the fact is we have more capacity than people want to get tests. So obviously some people have decided that the tests don't mean anything. Like, for instance, Doug, your wife, right?
Of course I'm right. And hey, let me tell you something. But I mean, every time she retested, they said it was a new case.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
5 times, and they're saying there's 5 new cases. Yeah, okay. So,
yeah.
They're just socialists acting like socialists.
Yeah, the papers and the TV stations love that. 500 new people tested positive. But apparently, Doug says 5 of them were his wife. Thanks for the call, Doug. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by 110 Grill. All Massachusetts locations are now open for outdoor dining on their beautiful patios. To find your nearest location or to sign up for their loyalty program, go to 110grill.com. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
The Mother's Day special was a huge success.
Of course it was. A Buy American, Support America t-shirt and a free book for $19.99. Who wouldn't love that deal?
Actually, we've had a few complaints.
From who?
A lot of people forgot that Father's Day comes right after Mother's Day, so now they wish they had bought their dad a gift too.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll run a Father's Day deal too. But then we're done. The prices can't be this low forever.
Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the banner to get your dad the perfect gift for only $19.99. Orders over $49.99 get free shipping. President Trump's life has changed a lot in the last couple of years, but one thing that remains consistent is love for a good nickname.
What happened to Mini Mike? Where's he? Mini Mike, I've had him up to here. Sleepy Joe has no idea what he's even talking. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Sleepy Joe, get off the stage, please. I don't think the guy's got a chance. Sleepy Joe, I don't think he's got it. I don't know. I think Sleepy Joe may be able to limp across the finish line. Crying Chuck. I don't want to say Crazy Nancy because if I say that, you're going to say it's a copy of Crazy Bernie, and that's no good. Who that judge? Alfred E. Newman. You know, I thought Pocahontas was gone, left in embers. Save the Pocahontas thing for another year. Did you ever hear Pocahontas? It's Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. Little pencil neck Adam Schiff. Got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen.
But Nancy Pelosi, I call her Nervous Nancy.
Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary Clinton. Bill Clinton said to Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary, do you think he calls her Crooked Hillary?
We all shop online, and now you could do it a better way with Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. And Honey has found over $2 billion in savings for its users. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s, are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
Hi, this is Cindy from Osterville, Massachusetts.
This is Brett Rock from Dunstable, Massachusetts.
This is Amy in Lisbon Falls, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
It's going down in Texas on Juneteenth, right? The first major massacre, literally speaking, of the Black Wall Street, right? Years ago.
Okay, Joe, whatever you say. 844-500-4242. Farmer John checking in from 860 area code. I've instituted a new policy here. Never trust a person who uses the word folks on a frequent basis. Yeah, the first person I ever noticed doing that was Barack Obama. And I instituted that policy back then, but I'd forgotten all about that policy, Farmer John. But it's definitely back with Charlie Parker. Abusing the word folks. It's definitely a sign of low character. Never trust someone who says folks that often. 844-500-4242. Thomas, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Thomas.
Hey, Howie, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, man, we all knew from the data from China, the data from Italy, that this thing affected old people the most, group homes the most, and why didn't we focus on that and let everybody else go to work?
I agree. That's the question that they can't answer, and they just don't even get asked it enough, do they?
No, look at Charlie Parker. He's like, he's acting like he
comes out with these numbers every day. How many people took the test? I mean, what the hell does that prove? And then Karen Polito talking about the exciting spaces. She's got a space between her ears. I don't know how exciting it is, considering how inarticulate she is. But they just keep talking about these things that don't affect what's happening. I mean, you got to open up the state. God, people go into Boston that haven't been there for a while, and I'm gonna be one of them shortly, very shortly. And they tell me they can't believe how deserted it is. And now after the rioting, you have not only deserted streets, nobody walking around, nobody working downtown. Now everything's boarded up. Do they think they're really successful? Do they really believe that they have an 80% favorability rating, whether it's Baker or Walsh? I don't think so. Thanks for the call, Thomas. Bruce, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bruce.
Hey, Howie, how are you today?
Good.
Yeah, so I'm working tonight. Fortunately, I'm working down on Washington Street in Boston, and like you said, dude, it looks like it's like a demilitarized zone. I feel like I'm at the real hellhole. Everything's all boarded up with particle board, plywood, and I had a hard time finding my address because the building that I'm working at is all boarded up. But the point I wanted to get to, I don't know. Maybe you might have heard about it, but out in California, my buddy called me up. He lives outside LA. That the Hells Angels and the Mongols, they've been putting the boots to the Black Lives Matter and all those other crazy.
Really? No, I hadn't heard that. But again, I've seen pictures of the showdowns between the looters and some of the Latin gang members in Chicago. They're just saying, you're not coming into this neighborhood and wrecking it and burning it down and looting it. And it's just not it's not going to be tolerated for long. There is going to be a backlash. People are going to defend their property. They're going to defend their families. They're going to defend their lives. And I don't just mean their physical lives. I mean their livelihoods and the way they live. Some warlord is not going to destroy that. I'm Howie Carr. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up,